shows. I'll be your host as we explore this fantastic method of painting. And if this is your first time with us, I think you'll find this a very exciting oil painting. We're going to take here and do some very simple tools, a dozen colors. I'm going to show you how to do fantastic things. So let's start out here, and I'm going to cover the entire canvas with a thin, even coat of Magic White. Now, Magic White is a liquid paint that makes the canvas wet, makes it slick, and allows things to happen right here on the canvas. We allow color to blend on the canvas rather than worrying about mixing it on the canvas. So, let's go here. Use long horizontal and vertical strokes to make sure you have a nice even distribution of Magic White across the canvas. There we go. And we're ready to go. And today I'm going to use a very, very limited palette. We're only going to use about 4 colors. And I'm going to have them graphically run those colors across the screen so you can pick them up at home. And they will come across your screen in the same order that I have them on my palette, starting with the titanium white and working around. Okay? Let me wash the brush. And we wash our brushes with odorless paint thinner. And I have a screen in the bottom of my can that I scrub the brush against to remove the paint. Shake off the excess. There we go. That's the most fun part of it. Okay, today, let's mix up a purple color. And I'll take alizarin crimson. We might as well mix up a pretty good batch. We're going to be using it all through this little painting. And phthalo blue. Now, the blue is many, many times stronger than the alizarin crimson, so use very little in comparison to the crimson. There. And we'll mix this pretty thoroughly. Okay, pick the paint up off the palette and turn it over when you're mixing it. That assures that it's mixed very thorough. Now, it's very hard to tell what color you have here. It just looks black. So let me wipe off the knife. We'll take a little bit of white. And then we'll touch that, and we'll check it. We'll see what we have here, and if that's the color that we're looking for. And that's a pretty good color, so we'll use it. So now, with a large 2.5-inch brush, I'm going to take just a little bit of the color on the brush and really work the paint into the bristles. Work it into the bristles so you have a nice, even distribution of color. And let's go right up there to the canvas. And I'm going to start right at the top of the canvas and make little crisscross strokes, little X's. Now, if your color is not right when you get to this point, stop and correct it. Okay? Now, it's easy to make a sky darker, but it's a son of a gun to make it lighter. So use very little paint. You can always add more. Go all the way across the top, using little crisscross strokes, and begin blending downward. Now, your color is mixing with a Magic White, and automatically it gets lighter as it goes toward the horizon, and that's what we're looking for. In a landscape, things should get darker in value as they get closer to you. Okay, we'll take a little more color. Let's go right up here, still making little crisscross strokes, and blend downward, so that it gets much, much lighter right here at the horizon. Okay. There we go. And very gently, we'll just blend that out. Now, while I've got the color on the brush, I'm going to load a little bit more, and we'll have some water down here at the bottom. And one thing about water, if it's still water, it's always flat. So pull from the outside in, from the outside in. And keep these strokes as straight as possible. It'll make your water flat, make it lay down. Okay, now we'll come from the other side and do the same thing. There we go. And very gently, very, very gently, we'll blend all this together. This is 3 hairs and some air. Just barely caressing the canvas. There. As I say, if this is your first time joining us, you'll notice that we do not do any tracings, we use no patterns. We just sort of let these paintings flow right out of our heart. And you can too. That's what makes it so fantastic. Okay, let's clean the brush. Once again, we use odorless paint thinner. There we go. Alrighty, let's use the fan brush some today. And I'm gonna go right back in here, and I'm gonna use the same dark color and figure out maybe there's a tree line that lives right there. There it is. And all I'm doing here is touching the canvas and pulling down. Touch and pull down. I'll try to hold the brush sideways so you can see that close up. Touch and pull down, okay? And we'll just sort of let this wander right on back. And we're still using the same purple color, lavender color purple. There, just let it fade right on into nothing over here. Okay, now let's bring this little hill. I know this is going to be a little hill right here. I see a little hill. Bring it down, just like so. And then lift gently upward. I'm just touching and lifting straight up, straight up. Good. Now I want to create the illusion of mist. So we'll take the large brush and very gently, I'm going to tap the bottom of this. Just tapping. There we go. Okay, now after you get it tapped and have it very misty, lift gently upward, very gently. And that'll soften it, make it look just like there's mist and it's far, far away. And you can soften it to any degree that you want it, any value that you want. Okay. Now I've got several fan brushes going today, so I don't have to stop and clean them in between each operation. Now I'm going to take a fan brush and go right into some titanium white. And we'll begin deciding where our little hill is going to be back here. And maybe, let's go right up here. Maybe the little hill comes right here. And we'll just use a fan brush today. You can put this on with a knife, or you can do it with a fan brush, make it very, very soft. And you begin worrying about the lay of the land. Follow those angles. And we'll put a little white over here, and then take a little touch of the phthalo blue and add to it. This will be some of our shadow colors in the snow. Load the brush full of paint, a lot of paint. Now, very lightly, just lay some of this in. Just here and there. Create some shadows in your snow. There we go. Very soft, very gentle. And maybe way back here in the distance, maybe there's a little cabin. And so we'll use a knife here, a little bit of titanium white, and get a small roll of paint on the knife right out here on the edge. There we go. And figure out where you want the roof of your little cabin to be. And let's say maybe the cabin's going to be right here, right about here. So you touch and pull. Just touch it and pull. Gives you the roof for your cabin. Touch and pull. Just let that paint slide right off your knife. There we go. Now we need to do the other side of the cabin, the other side of the eave up here. So we'll use the small edge of the knife. And we can just, that easy. Put the other side on. Okay, now let's go into some Van Dyke brown. And we can begin working on some detail here. Now maybe there's an eave right there. One stroke going across. And we need a front on this little cabin. Zoop, there we are. Other side. And this is where you begin straightening him up and get him like you want him. And the side here, a little bit. Okay, now we can straighten out the front. And we'll take a little bit of brown and white. And we'll make the front of the cabin a little bit lighter. Barely touch. Barely touch. Just to make it look like old wood. And we'll go back with a little bit of the dark, put some shadows in. Make it look very old. And we need a door in that cabin, so I'll take just a tiny bit of the Van Dyke brown on the knife, and we'll put a little door. Just pull across, that's all there is to it. And we need some highlight around the door. So, that easy. We'll highlight around the door. Maybe this is an old slab cabin, so we'll just cut some slabs in here. That's simple. All right, and we got a pretty good looking little cabin going there. Now we can straighten the bottom out by just scraping off this excess paint. This is sort of how you shape your cabin. You can check your angles, make sure they're just right. You can take and add a little bit of paint just to make nice firm edges here. This is just a little bit of the titanium white. There. And maybe we'll have a snowbank coming down the side here, so let's get rid of some of this brown. Like that. And we'll go back to our fan brush and back into some titanium white with a little bit of phthalo blue into it. And we'll put a shadow right here. Just let it come right down beside the cabin. Touch, pull. Now be careful right in here. You don't want to hit that brown and pull a big bunch of brown down into your snow. Brown snow is worse than yellow snow. There we go. There. A little bit of shadow right in there. Maybe you want to put the indication that there's a little path coming from the door. So we just take a little blue and just sort of scrub it back and forth. Just sort of pull it. Now we don't know where this goes. Just let it go. Let it have fun. The old fellow that lives here needs a way to get up to his cabin. And maybe he had a few little animals here and had to have a fence. So let's build a little fence. And I'm going to take my liner brush and dip it into a thin oil and go right into the Van Dyke brown. Now I want the paint to be very, very thin. Normally we work with a paint that's very thick in consistency because one of our golden rules, a thin paint will stick to a thick paint. So we've got a thick paint on the canvas. Now I can take this thin paint and stick it on top. And I turn the brush to bring it to a point. A liner brush has very long bristles, holds a lot of paint. So let's go right up here, and maybe the little fence, maybe it's right there. And we'll put in some little post. And this is far away. And maybe there's a little hill right here, and it just goes right on over the hill. And we need some boards across the old fence post. And these are just indications. This is far away. Don't want to get too much detail. It'll ruin the illusion of distance. Now we can go back with a little bit of titanium white on the fan brush. And just define that Looks like that fence goes right on over the hill somewhere. And we don't know where it goes. We just let it go. Okay, and while I got the brown on the little liner brush, maybe there's a little chimney right here, so we can just throw in a little chimney. That's simple. That's all there is to it. Gives the indication of a chimney. And maybe there's a touch of red on that chimney. At least a little touch. Just enough to brighten it up a little. We'll clean the brush, and we're ready to go again. And maybe we'll go back to the fan brush that had the dark purple on it, and let's load it full of paint. Really load it full of paint. And maybe, right in here, maybe there's a tree it lives. Right there. There he is. Now we're going to use just the corner of the fan brush to make this tree. This is a nice evergreen. Just go back and forth. Back and forth. Like so. And that's simple. That's simple. You could make a fantastic tree. I know you could do it. This is what makes it fun. These things happen. You really don't plan them. You just sort of let them happen. Just let them flow right out of your mind, right onto the canvas. That's what makes it fun. When you can create on the canvas, you don't have to spend a great deal of time trying to figure out what you're going to paint. You just learn how to paint, and you let it go. Maybe there's a little hill right there. So we'll put some little weeds coming down from under this tree. Just like that. Just let these little weeds these create the lay of the land. There we go. Now take a little bit of this is phthalo blue and white once again. Very limited palette we're using today. And let's take and put us a little hill right in here. And we don't care if it picks up a little bit of that purple color. It helps add to the shadows. Isn't that pretty? And it's simple. This is a very, very easy painting. Very easy painting. And it's a lot of fun. Very rewarding painting. Now, once again, follow the lay of the land. These brush strokes determine how your land's going to look, which direction it's going to flow. Okay. Let's go over on the other side here and work a little bit and see what we can come up with. Maybe over here, maybe there's a whole group of trees. Let's start right there. And all you do is touch your canvas. Now, corner the brush and practice these little trees. It takes a little practice. They live in your fan brush, and sometimes you have to sort of scare them out. Get them little rascals out of there. Just go back and forth. And I use the same corner of the brush all the way down the tree. Now, these trees can be made with a 1-inch brush, 2.5-inch brush. All works on the same principle. A lot of paint on the brush and a very firm paint. Very firm. We're going to stick some highlights on top of that. Now, once again, if this is your first time watching our series, I hope you're enjoying it. Hope it's got you excited. You got your brush about ready to go with me. And that you paint along with me each week. If you've been with us before, I'd like to tell you how much we appreciate all the cards and letters that have came in. We read each and every one of them, and they make us very happy to know that you're watching our shows and you like what we're doing. And you know, when this series is finished, we have a complete year of television. 52 shows. Unbelievable. And I want to thank you for allowing us into your home each week and for supporting us. You've made it happen, and we appreciate it. Okay, maybe there's a little tree. There's right there. There we go. And however many trees you want. This is your world. Your world, so you decide how many trees live in your world. There we go. I'll tell you what, let's have another tree right there. Maybe this is a little stand of pines right on the corner. There we are. And on this series, I think we're going to try to, we'll bring in some of my friends. I have some fantastic friends that paint also. I'm going to bring some of them in and let them show you some of the unbelievable things that can be done in just a few minutes. Okay, maybe, I'll tell you what, let's have one more little tree right there. Right there. And maybe from there, there's some more little weeds. Maybe they come right down here. See that? It's going to cut that out and push everything back. Just let these go. Yeah, we just lay in some basic shapes first because I want to pick up some of this color in my snow to make shadows. And we go back to the titanium white with the tiniest little bit of phthalo blue in it. And we begin putting in some basic shapes here for a hill. There. Just barely touch the canvas. See, pick up some of this purplish color. Let it become part of your shadows. And over here, we're just going to sort of let it fade away. right into nothing. There we go. Maybe this comes right down. There it is. You knew it was there. And I hope this painting gives you ideas. You know, we're not trying to give you things just to copy. We're trying to give you ideas, and we're trying to teach you technique, and then turn you loose on the world. Okay, let's put a few more little grassy things in here. And these paintings can be done in any color, and they don't have to be done in just purple. You could do them in any color. Now, maybe up in here, I'm going to show a little bit of snow, a little bit of light. My home's in Fairbanks, Alaska, so I like to do snow paintings. I see a lot of snow where I live. Okay. There we are. Just let these fade right on off into nothing. It's right on the way. Okay. See how easy that is? Now then, let's go back over to this tree over here and finish this up. Lift up just a little bit here and there, like so, and let it go. Then we'll bring in a little bit of snow, a little highlight here and there, let the sun play across. Okay, now while I've got this brush going with a little bit of the blue on it, let's put some indication of a little bit of snow on the trees. We'll start with this one here. We don't want a great deal. I don't want to lose the dark values here. So we'll just put some little indications here and there. There we are. Just a few. Now, let's go over into the clump of trees and do exactly the same thing. Just touch. Just here and there. Just a few. Just a few. Drop them in. Dark down there. Darker, darker, darker as it goes down toward the bottom. Very, very dark. Very, very dark. Let it go. A few up here on that one, and we're in business. Now, let's put a little bit of water in this painting. All we need to do is go right in here with our large brush and pick up a little bit of the dark color. Decide where you want your water to be. Maybe it lives right there, and pull straight down. Even though you're going around the corner, still pull straight down. And that easy, we'll create some beautiful, beautiful little reflections straight down. There we go. Now, very lightly, go across. Makes it look like water. And let's put a few little stones and stuff here back into the purple color, and decide where you want a little stone to be, and just lay in some paint like that. That's all there is to it. Maybe there's a little stone that lives right there. There he is. See, just lay it in. I know. Let's have one right here. Just lay in your little stone. Then we'll take a little bit of the white, titanium white, and come right over the top of that stone. Now, there. Very lightly. It's right over the top. Just like so. A little bit of white. And let's lay some snow on that stone. And you can put as many stones in there as you want. Many as you want. Let them go. Tell you what, let's add a little blue to this one. Put it over here maybe in the shadow. And there. Just let it come across like that. And maybe this comes right on down. Just let it go. There we are. See, and you pick up a little of that color, and it makes it look like a shadow. You know, we don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents. So let it happen. Learn to use anything that happens. All right. Now we need a water line here to clean up the edges and finish this little painting up. So we'll take a little bit of the magic white, and I'm going to put it on the palette, pull it out very, very flat, and then cut across it. Just cut across so you have a very thin line of paint on the knife. And we'll go right up here and act just like you're trying to cut a hole in the canvas. Just like you're trying to saw a hole right through it. Push very hard. We use a very, very firm pressure here. Just like so. There. And just let these water lines work right on around. And I hope you've enjoyed this. This is a very, very nice little painting. Easy to do. It's a good first project. Get you started, get your blood fired up. And hope next week you have your almighty brush out, your easel set up, big glass of tea sitting there, and ready to go with me. So, let's sign this one, and we'll call it finished. I'll take a little bit of the thin oil, and I did put some permanent red out here, which was not on the screen, just for signature. And let's sign right here today. And that's all there is to it. A thin paint, go right on there. So, And we'll call that one finished. And from all of us here, we'd like to wish you happy painting. God bless. See you next week. Hi, I'm glad to see you today. Glad you could join me. Today I thought we'd do a black canvas, and I've taken a black canvas here, and I've covered the whole thing with alizarin crimson and phthalo blue, and I've just sort of mixed them on the brush and just covered the entire canvas. So I'll have them graphically run all the colors that you need across your screen, and you can see the colors we're going to use to do this beautiful little painting today. And while they're doing that, let's get started. So I say this is alizarin crimson and phthalo blue, so it's sort of a purplish color up here. We hope. It's hard to see. Take a little bit of white on the large brush. Let's go right up here and just lay a little bit of color in the sky. This is just plain white, but it's picking up the purplish color that we have underneath. Just a little titanium white. Just let it bounce around and play. And if everything works just right, when this painting's done, I don't think it's going to look like a black canvas. I think it'll look like a white canvas. Just want to show you how versatile some of these black canvases are. They're some of the most fantastic things going. There we go. That'll give us just a little bit of color in the sky, a little purplish hue. And you can make this any color you want. If you want it to be more of a bluish color, you can have more phthalo blue than crimson, and automatically you'll have that. Okay, let's wash the brush. What the heck? And we wash our brushes with odorless paint thinner. Oop, beat them dry, and we're in business. Let's take an old fan brush today. Let's build a happy little cloud up in the sky, and I'll use some titanium white on the fan brush and put a lot of paint into the brush. A lot of paint. Okay, let's go up to the canvas here. Use just a corner of the brush, and very quickly we'll just drop in some happy little floaters around here. Little clouds are free, they just sort of float around and have fun. Just let them go, wherever. Gotta make these decisions. Where are they at? Okay, and we'll take our big brush, it's clean and dry, very gently. Just blend this out. It also is picking up that color that's underneath. That first coat of paint that we put on is put on with very firm paint, very dry, firm paint. So you can do all this blending without becoming a mud mixer. If you use thin, oily paints here, and you try to do all this, you're going to become a mud mixer and you're going to be upset with me. And I don't want you to be unhappy. So, gently blend across. And that easy. You get some very effective, beautiful little clouds. That's all there is to it. Okay, we can clean the old brush again. This really may be the most fun part of this whole technique is cleaning the brush. Oh, you can take out all your hostilities. All right. Maybe there's a little footy hill back here, a little foothill. And let's take, we'll just mix it on the brush here. Some phthalo blue, a little crimson into it. And let's use some sap green right into it. And this is just mixed with a brush. Shoot, no big deal. Put a little white in there, we can see what color we got. Okay, I'm gonna add a little brown, I won't dull it, too bright. So you can dull it right down. Put a little brown in it, that'll dull it down. Okay, a lot of paint on the brush. Let's go up to the canvas. Maybe there lives a little foothill. Yeah, you're right, there he is. And just use the corner of the brush. And we'll just put a basic little foothill shape right in there. Just like so. Let it go. There. And all you're looking for is a very, very basic shape. Okay, now, we'll take the large brush, grab it, and pull it down. Pull it down. That easy. And just by changing the direction of the brush, you can make the illusion of all kinds of little highlights and shadows just by changing the direction of the brush, especially on these black canvases. If you want to create mist down at the bottom, take a little white on the brush, very little, very, very little, and just tap it in. Color shows up 100 times stronger on the black canvases than it does on the white ones. So use very, very, very little color. Very little. And just tap in a little bit, and that'll create the illusion of mist down here. And just pull those right out. And very lightly blend all that. And lift it upward. It's a super nice way to make some little foothills that are far away. Very quiet. Okay. Now, tell you what, let's do. Let's clean that old fan brush. Okay. Now let's make another range of hills here. And maybe for this one, let's use Phthalo Blue and Van Dyke Brown. Blue and brown. I want this one very dark. We put a little white in the other one. This one I don't want any white in. As things get closer to you in the landscape, they should get darker in value. So here comes a little hill right there. Very dark. Very dark. Blue and brown. Blue and brown. There it goes. Right there. Right there. Just laying a little color. See how easy that is? And already you can begin to see another range here. And we're working with different planes. The more planes you have in a painting, the more depth you'll have in that painting. And sometimes when I'm painting these, I'll make them smaller and put, oh goodness, sometimes 8 or 10 foothills in here. And it looks like you can just look back and see forever. On a clear day, of course. Okay, let's go in here now. Tell you what, let's take a little permanent red, a little permanent red, a little burnt umber. And we'll just sort of mix that together. And let's go right up in here. Maybe there's a little red right in here. Let's begin adding a little color. This is getting close enough now that we're beginning to see color. So we can add a little color in and maybe it comes right down. Like so. Shoot, there might even be a little bit right over there. Wherever you want. Just throw in a little color. Permanent red, burnt umber. Let's put it in. Now I'm going to take this big brush and gently tap that. I want to soften it so it just blends right in, but yet you'll still be able to see a little of that reddish hue. Still don't want it too bright. It's too far away. Too far away. Too far. There. But you see how you can see every brush stroke in these black canvases. Okay. And while we got this color on the brush, add a little white to it. That's burnt umber, permanent red, a little tiny bit of titanium white. Maybe back in here, maybe, there it is. Maybe there's a little tree, bush, something right there. There's another one. Ain't that fun? Ain't that fun? Painting used to drive me crazy. I was a traditional painter for many years, and you really don't have to agonize over paintings. You don't have to be blessed by Michelangelo at birth. You can paint. You can paint. Okay, that'll give us like a little growth of trees back in the back. I'm going to take now, back to the 2.5-inch brush, go into a little cad yellow. Oh, we'll add a little sap green. A little sap green, cad yellow. And maybe. I'll tell you what, I want a little more sap green. There, with it quite dark right there underneath. Sap green, a little cad yellow. Maybe there's a little plain out here, a little meadow. Now let's add a little more of the cadmium yellow. That'll get a little brighter. There. So it begins working out from that. See there? Now if your paint will not stick well, add a little bit of paint thinner to your brush. Just a little though. Ooh, a little tiny bit. A little tiny bit. Takes a very, very little. See, and this is creating another plane. And I'm going to add a little yellow ochre. Maybe a little bit of Indian yellow. See, just by changing the color a little bit, it makes it look like another plane. And every time you add another plane, you create more depth in your painting, another dimension. Another dimension. And that's really what painting is all about, is to make it look deep, far away. Just walk right back into this painting. There we go. Now, when you're doing this, if you want to make something a little darker, there's color underneath here. So all you have to do is tap on it, and automatically it'll pick up the color underneath and it gets darker. So just work it, and you can make it dark, 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 right on down till it's almost black again if you wanted to. But anytime you want to create a shadow, or you want to make an area darker, tap it. That's all there is to it. And you can soften it, make it darker. Darker, 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 darker. You can make this look almost like velvet. Looks almost like lace just laying out there. Okay, there. Alrighty, tell you what, let's do. Maybe there's some big trees that grow around the side. I'm gonna go right into some Van Dyke Brown, little crimson, alizarin crimson, sap green, and just mix them on the brush here. Pull that brush in one direction. Okay, now look at this brush. See, look at all the paint in the end of it. There, you can really see it. Look at the amount of paint. And there's a slight curve because you pulled it in one direction. You want that curve to be on top. Let's go to the canvas. Now, when you touch the canvas, touch it and push. Look at there. Look at that. Isn't that exciting? Look at all those thousands of leaves. Now, you could sit there with your one-haired brush for a week trying to do that, or you can do it in one stroke with an almighty brush. Look at that. Don't be afraid of it. Load a lot of paint into the brush. Probably the biggest single mistake made is people don't put enough paint in the brush, and then they have to hit the canvas so hard. Put a lot of paint in the brush. Have fun with it. Okay, same colors, brown, green, little alizarin crimson. Maybe. There it is. There it is. Just sort of look at your painting, evaluate it, make a decision, and go. And go. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Have fun with it. Just push it in there, bend those bristles, and go. Don't let the brush slide. Don't let the brush slide. It's very important. You don't want that brush to slide. Okay, there we are. Now maybe, there's some water down here. I see water down here. So if you want water, all you have to do is take this old big brush. We'll go right into a little bit of titanium white. Decide where you want the water to be. Touch and pull down. Touch and pull down. You're going to pick up that color that's underneath, and automatically you got water. Look there. Look there. That's simple. Wherever you want. Wherever. Touch, pull straight down. It's important that you pull straight down. Straight down. Now sometimes it reflects a little bit from the sky, so maybe there's a little white right in wherever you want it. Wherever. It's reflected out of the sky. Just drop it in, pull straight down, go right across it. Okay, and a little bit of phthalo blue. Maybe we'll give it just a little more of the blue hue. Blue hue. There you go. Just like so. Now after you pull it straight down, go gently across. Isn't that something? Just go across. Now brush strokes are very, very important, especially on these black canvases. See there? But that easy. Instant water. Okay, now we can come back in here and begin putting some beautiful little highlights on some of these and making all kinds of little trees and bushes out of them. We'll go right into some yellow. Let's hit some sap green. There we go. A lot of paint in the bristles. Yellow, sap green. Okay, maybe right up here in this old big tree. Touch. Just like we did with the big brush. We load it the same way. We touch the canvas the same way. Very, barely touching. Just enough to bend the bristles a little. And once again, you need a lot of paint. A lot of paint. We'll sort of vary some colors. Maybe we'll go right into the yellow ochre here. We don't know how many trees this is growing here in this clump. There could be several. Your trees, so however many you want in there, that's what you put in. Maybe there's a little honey red added to it. Maybe just to brighten it up. Yeah, we don't know how many trees are in this clump. Maybe this is one. Just let them happen. Don't kill all your dark areas. It's most important that you save some of them. If you kill all your dark areas, it's going to get very flat. Very flat, little flat tree. Nice bright, shiny tree. Okay, let's go to the other side of the canvas. And over there, we can add a little more. Got a little more green, a little more yellow. And let's go right in here to this big old tree. Oh, that's a beautiful green. Beautiful green. Look at that. Let's put some little ochre. Beautiful, shiny bush. Happy little bush. Happy bush. We only have happy bushes. Go back into the little green. Just let it play back and forth. Let all these little things happen. Let them happen. See there? Can do. There's one. Very one. Maybe. There's one. Add a little permanent red to this one. Make it stand out a little. Okay. Paint won't stick well. Add a little paint thinner to your brush. And it'll stick with any problem. You can go right over anything. Thin paint sticks to thick paint. All right. Let's take our liner brush. A little paint thinner on it. Go right into some brown. Bring it to a nice sharp point by turning it. Okay, let's go up here. Let's put some little limbs and sticks. Maybe. There's one. Comes right out of the top. Right out of the top. And he's got a friend that lives right there. And he comes right down in there. See, sometimes you have, in trees, you have limbs that, just individual limbs that, well, they go to the happy hunting ground. But they're still there, and they're still beautiful. Don't leave them out. These little branches are so pretty. So pretty. Everything in nature is pretty. Use it. Maybe. There it is. Comes right. There. Wherever you want it. There we go. Isn't it fun to just sit and create such beautiful things? Let's go into a little white. Leave that color on the brush. Go right into a little bit of white. Okay. Now, maybe there's some here. A little different color. Paint thinner. See, let all these little things happen. These little changes in color. Oh, they make things exciting. They make you happy. kinds of things. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to some of the brown. Some of the brown. It's Van Dyke brown. Let's go over the other side. Maybe there's some limbs over here too. We don't want him to feel left out. Just here and there. Here and there. Okay, maybe. There's one. Go back into my paint thinner and go right back into the white paint. I haven't cleaned the brush, so you still have all that brown in there. And maybe, you're right, there it is. You're right. Just let these things happen. Look at there. See, and you didn't have to clean the brush, but I'm lazy. If I don't have to clean the brush, I like it. I like it. Maybe he's got a little friend that lives right there. Okay, tell you what, let's do. Let's take. Go right into some of this green and all the yellows and red. It's all right here. It's just all mixed here. Let's just tap. This is the same old dirty brush I was using to do the background. And in here we'll add a little bit of little grassy areas here and there. And once again, here I'm just tapping. Want this to be very soft, little flat feel. See? That's all there is to it. All there is to it. There. Just let it go. Let it go. And it comes right up the hill here. And wherever you want them to go, that's where they go. Do you ever think painting can be so easy and so much fun? It can. Really can. There's no big secret to it. Learn a few basic rules and let it happen. All you need is a dream in your heart. Alrighty, tell you what, let's put some land down here, a little bit of dirt. Take a little Van Dyke brown, a little burnt umber mixed on a knife. Okay, and then we'll go up here, and all we're gonna do is just touch. Just let the knife bounce around and play. A little more paint. Just play with it. Wherever it goes, let it happen. Let's go over on the other side now. Right in here. There it goes again. These things they just wander everywhere you want them. This is also the way you sort of clean up the bottom of your grassy area. It'll clean it up, make it nice and pretty. And this is Van Dyke brown, burnt umber. Wherever you want them. Okay, and then we'll take a little bit of titanium white, a little blue and a little brown. So we got white, blue, and brown. Sort of a very light gray color. A little bit of paint on the knife. Okay, let's go right up here. And just barely touch it. Just let it just graze across the top. Just barely touch. Whisper light. Barely touch. Can't see that enough. Okay. There. It's so fantastic. And I thank you. I really enjoy being with you. You've become a very close and dear friend. I wish you the best. And hope these paintings bring a joy into your life. And teach you something. Take a little magic light now into that. And the least little amount of phthalo blue. Least little amount. And just put some little water lines in here. Take the knife, hold this out very flat, and then cut across. Okay? And you can cut right up underneath here and add in little water lines. Just like so. Just like so. And you can put as many of these in here as you want. Just let them go. There. Now they need to be basically straight. If they're not straight, you paint your water run right out of your painting. Start saying painting run right out of your water, but we know that's not right. There, and just wherever you want. Let's go to the other side. We're gonna have to go over here. We're gonna have some of this. Don't want to get jealous. There we go. Yeah, and another thing, if you enjoy these shows, let your station know. Shoot, that's the only way they know. If you like something, call them up. Spend a minute with them. Tell them what you like. That's so you get different shows on television, or you keep shows on there that you like, or you get reruns if you want. Let them know. They need to know. I'm going to take and add a couple more little twigs and little sticks maybe right in here. Just to break it up some. Just to make it up. Okay. There. And I'll keep it right. I enjoyed you having completed painting. This painting, as I said in the beginning, has a tremendous amount of depth, There's plain after fun. It really is a super, super fun painting to do. If you're interested in selling the painting, put a happy bow. So I'll take a little paint thinner. We'll go right here, and we'll drop a little signature on. The old clock on the wall tells me I have to leave you for the day. I'll be back. And from all of us here, happy painting. God bless. Welcome back. I'm glad you could join me today. Today I thought we'd do a great big almighty mountain. I think you'll really enjoy this one. So let's have them graphically run all the colors across the screen that you need to do this project. And they'll come across the screen in the same order that I have them on the palette, starting with the titanium white and working around. While they're doing that, let's go up to the canvas here. I've already covered the canvas with a thin, even coat of magic white. It's wet and slick and ready to go. So let's start out today with a 2.5-inch brush, and we'll go right into a small amount of phthalo blue. Now, phthalo blue is a very, very bright, beautiful blue. And we're just going to beat that paint right into the bristles here, just to get a nice even distribution of color all the way through the bristles. Okay, let's go up to the canvas now. And let's just sort of play a little color just here and there. Just bounce it around, let it happen, let it play. There we go. We don't want to cover the entire sky here. Just want to cover it here and there and leave little spots open. There we go. And using a big old brush, it didn't take but just a second to get some color on the canvas. And what we have left here, we'll just put it down here. It's a good place to clean the brush. There we are. Now, without cleaning the brush, I'm going to go right into a very small amount of burnt umber. And once again, tap it into the bristles in the same manner. Okay, let's go up here. And these light areas, I'm going to drop a little bit of this burnt umber right in here. I want to gray the sky down in areas so it's not just a real bright blue color. And this is just a very small amount of burnt umber. Almost looks like a burnt sienna color. Okay, a little bit over in here, and right in here. Okay, and then once again, we just sort of wipe the brush off and put a little bit of this color down on the bottom. Okay, now I have several brushes going, so I don't have to wash them continually. We'll take a clean brush, and I'm just going to begin blending the sky. Just making little crisscross strokes. Just back and forth, little X's. And this color is continually mixing with the magic white. It allows beautiful things to happen. It blends automatically rather than having to mix several colors. Let it happen on the canvas. Let the brush work. Let the canvas work. I'm lazy. I'm always looking for a nice, easy way to do this. Okay, then a few horizontal strokes will take out all the brush marks and give you a very effective little sky. That easy. Okay, as I say, today we're going to do a huge, big, strong mountain that has a lot of rocks in it. So let's mix up some black here. And I'm going to start with phthalo green. And you might as well, if you're painting along with me, mix up quite a large pile of this. Phthalo green and alizarin crimson in about equal parts. Maybe a tiny bit more crimson than green. Now, normally we just mix our color till it's marbled. But today, mix it very well. We want it to be very thoroughly mixed so we have a nice, even black color. A lot of paint. Just really mix it up. And when you're mixing, pick this paint up off the palette and turn it over. Otherwise, what's next to the palette never gets mixed. Okay, now, it's very hard to tell exactly what we have. So let's take a little white, put it right there, and just check it. There we go. Makes a nice gray color. That's exactly what we're looking for. Okay. Clean my knife. And let's take some of this nice black color, and let's build us an almighty mountain up here, boy. We're gonna, oh, look at this. We'll put a huge mountain today. And you're really pushing this paint into the fabric. There we go. And maybe it comes, yep, there it is, right out through there. Just let it bounce and play wherever you want it to go. And all we're doing here is just blocking it in, so we're really not too concerned about anything happening in here. The only thing we're concerned about is this nice edge on the outside. The rest of it, doesn't matter right now. It'll matter in a little while. Put another little bump right there. If you're gonna do mountains, it's fun to put little bumps on them here and there. Okay. You can probably hear I'm really scraping that canvas hard. I'm pushing that paint right into the fabric. There's really not a great deal of color on the canvas. Okay, now then, I'll take one of these old dirty brushes, and I'm gonna grab this color and pull it. And as we've mentioned on previous shows, when you're painting mountains, if you can see the entire mountain, it's always more distinct at the top than it is at the bottom. Because we have mist, and now we have wonderful pollution, and all these things break up and diffuse light, cause the bottom of the mountain to look softer than the top. Okay? Now, when you're doing this, using brush strokes is a super way to lay out your mountain. Watch here. Can you see that? But just by pulling the brush across there, let's come right across. You can give yourself all kinds of ideas of how you want to lay this mountain out, and you're not committed. You can change this. It's a super little way sort of cheat a little bit. Okay. Now already you can see the bottom of this mountain is much lighter than the top, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Now we can start some highlights. And I'm going to take a little bit of the same black color, some burnt umber, some Van Dyke brown, and some white. And just mix up several different colors right here together. See, it's darker here and it gets lighter, lighter, lighter. And that way you have several things happening. Okay, and we'll cut across it and get a small roll of paint. It's right out here on the knife. Good, you can see that. That's what you work with, a small roll. Okay, let's go up here. Now, no pressure, no pressure. All you're doing here is whisper light. Barely, barely touch the canvas. Barely touch the canvas. Just let it bounce along and play. Barely touch it. See, you didn't overmix this color, and so all kinds of things are happening. If you overmix it, then you just get one dead color up here. We want all these beautiful things to happen. Now over here, this would be in the shadow side. We're going to have our light coming from the right. So let's take some Prussian blue. Ooh, very strong color. Dark, strong color. And with that, we'll make us a shadow color. We're using some Van Dyke brown, Prussian blue, and a little bit of white. Okay. Now, same little roll of paint. Let's go up here. And over on this side, just allow some of these little things to happen. You're still just barely, barely touching the canvas. Whisper light. Whisper light. Just let your hand float across there. And here and there, we can add a little bit more highlight so it shows a little light playing through there. And same thing over on this side, a little bit lighter color, just in a couple of places, so it gives you the impression there's a little light just bouncing through there. Now get a little dark on the knife. And we just work out here and there to make some strong shadows, some deep areas. Just let it bounce around and play, just to see. There. Okay, and that easy. Gives you a nice feeling of a big, strong peak in the background back here. Okay, maybe, tell you what, today let's have a nice glacier up here in this mountain. And we'll start out with some titanium white, and I'll put a little bit of that black color in it just to gray it down, so it's not pure white. Pull it out very flat, cut across it. We get that little roll of paint right on the edge of the knife again. Okay, now then, touch, no pressure, let the paint break, just let it come right across here. Just let it go. No pressure. No pressure. Let it happen. And just sort of, in your mind, think where you want this little glacier to go and where the snow should lay. This is your mountain, so you make these decisions. Create your own world right here on the canvas. There we go. Very soft, very gentle. And that'll give us a basic idea of where our glacier is going to be. Maybe, tell you what, maybe there's a little bit of snow. There it is, lays right in there. And maybe, while we got this going, maybe there's some more right there. Wherever you want it, wherever. And this is what makes the style of painting so much fun. We use no patterns, we trace no pictures onto the canvas, no drawing. Shoot, I can draw a straight line, but it's easy to paint. It's much easier than trying to learn to draw. Now, let's put some shadows in that snow. We'll take some white and a little bit of phthalo blue. A little bit of phthalo blue, very strong. And we'll just mix that together. We get that same little roll of paint again. Okay, go back up here. And we think maybe there's some shadows right in here. And we just sort of lay them in. Lay them in, let them happen. Just like so. And there'll be some shadows right there. And a few right up in there. We don't want this one to be left out. We'll put a few shadows there. And right now, that's basically all we need. And we can start figuring out where we want to have peaks and valleys and all these big, beautiful things. Maybe there's, oh, there it is. There it is. Put a great big peak right there. And it comes right up through. And maybe there's a little snow right in between there. Anywhere you want it. You just lay it in. Okay, maybe these peaks, there they are. Just let them work right in there. And again, working out some basic shapes. And all we're doing now is just blocking it in. Just putting in dark color. You need the dark in order for the light to show. Quite a bit of paint on the canvas here. And when this is dry, it'll actually feel like rocks. It'll have texture to it. I like paintings that have both softness and texture. Maybe we'll just bring that right on across and change that into several. There we go. Bring some of that right on down and allow a little bit of that white to run right up the side of the mountain here. Okay, now then, I'll take some burnt umber right into my highlight color. Just mix it and leave it marbled like this. Don't over-mix it. Maybe even, there, you can see it a little better so it looks marbly. Okay, let's go up here. And here, we're just barely touching. Let all these little things happen. Don't overwork it. You can keep pushing real hard on this, till it all just sort of blends together. And we want to have all these different areas happening. Some dark, some light, stones and rocks and all kinds of beautiful little things. So let them go. There. Okay. Maybe there's a little touch right in there. Add a little more umber. Okay. Clean off the old knife. Now, very gently, barely caressing the canvas. And you hold your hand very flat here. Very flat. If you notice, sometimes it's so flat my fingers touch the canvas. Don't worry about it. That means you're just right. Just right. Okay, now we can sort of bring this together a little bit. Pull a little bit of that dark color right out into it. Just bring it all together. There we go. Okay. Now then, let's start over here. We're going to throw a little bit of dark in here, wherever. And then we can start with some shadows and highlights. Just let it play right down through. You just saw me get paint on my hands. Probably that's one of the biggest questions we get in letters, and we get hundreds and hundreds of letters from fantastic people. And they want to know, how do you get this paint off your hands? It's very difficult sometimes to get it off. There is a product on the market, several of them, that you can put on your hand before you start painting, and paint won't stick to it. All you have to do is just wash your hand with warm soapy water, or just hold it under the water and paint will come right off. And you might check with your local art store and see about picking some of that up. Comes in handy if you're messy as I am. Okay, I tell you what, maybe there's a big ridge right here. Shoot. It's our mountain, so we can do anything with it that we want to. Big ridge. There it goes. And all we're doing, once again, is just blocking all this in with dark color. And maybe, there it is. Nice little bump that lives there. Do you see how you can just keep building on this mountain and building and building it? There's just no end to it. You can take and cover the entire canvas with nothing but mountains. And that's a super, super way to practice. We'll just close that in, and that'll sort of hold that glacier right up in there. And a lot of times glacier ice is, because it has very little oxygen in it, might be even a greenish blue color. Okay, a little more of the umber and some of the other colors. We just mix them here. I've got to the point where I'm not sure exactly what color we're using. It's just whatever happens to be laying around. Okay, let's go up here. And we just drop some of this in here and there. And just sort of look at it and evaluate it, see if it's what you want. If it's not, change it. Change it. A little bit right in there. See, wiggle that knife and let all these little things happen. It's unreal what you can do with an almighty knife. A little bit of practice. Just a few little indications here and there. Not too much. Don't want to lose this nice darkness. A few little things here and there. Don't want to lose all that darkness. Just sort of bring all that together. Maybe it's a little flat area right in here. And just lay in a little color. Just like so. Wherever. In your world, you can do anything that you want to do. And painting offers you freedom. It offers you a world that you can make any way you want. It can be clean and crisp, sparkle. Or you can create moods, storms, almighty rivers. Painting offers freedom. Gets you away from the everyday problems. Turns you loose on the world. That may be what attracted me to painting initially. It's the only place I had any power. Okay, a few little rocks and stones. Okay, I think I should give you a pretty basic idea of how you can do a beautiful, beautiful mountain in a very short period of time. And, okay, let's make some decisions and decide what else is in this thing. Maybe there's some little evergreens back here that sort of move up the side of the mountain. So start with a fan brush. We'll use a fan brush. And I'm using that same old dark color. Same dark color. Maybe I'll add a little bit of a phthalo blue to it right there. Okay, see how full that fan brush is, though? A lot of paint in it. Okay, let's go up to the canvas here. Maybe there's a happy little tree that lives right here, and he's far away. This whole group of trees is far away. All we want here is just some indications. We don't want a lot of detail. Just indications. Just sort of let him work his way up the mountain here. There we go. Now then, I'm going to take a small amount of blue on the brush and just begin tapping right here. We need some dark color right underneath these trees. And a tiniest little bit of white. Oh, look at there. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, maybe we'll have a nice valley under this mountain. It's such a big, beautiful mountain. I don't want to put too much in here and distract. So we'll take a little bit of this black color. I'm going to add to it sap green. So I have black with sap green. And I'm just loading the brush full of paint here. Okay, let's go up here. and then just begin tapping it in. Now, the big thing we're looking for here is angles. We have to make a decision about the lay of the land and where it goes. So we're looking for angles. Begin creating the lay of the land. There we go. You know, in the first show that we had in this series, I mentioned to you that in this series I was going to bring a few friends on and show you some fantastic painters. And next week, I hope you join us because I'm going to bring you a super lady named Dorothy Dent, and she comes to us out of Missouri. And if you haven't heard of Dorothy, by the time the show's over, you'll understand why I'm so crazy about Dorothy and the way she paints. She is unbelievable. So I hope you're with us next week and hope you enjoyed. We're probably going to be doing a whole series with Dorothy in the near future, so stop by and see us next week and see what you think. Okay, there we go. Just drop that right in. So we want it to blend evenly here. So here I'm just taking that out. All right. Now with the same old dirty brush, I'm going to add a little tiny bit of paint thinner and go right into some cad yellow. Now since I have green already on the brush, when I hit this yellow, I'm going to get some beautiful, beautiful greens. And all I'm doing here is just tapping. Just tap, 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 tap. Maybe a little yellow ochre, and sort of work the color back and forth. Mix the color on the brush. Okay, let's go up here. Now maybe there's some beautiful little hills. Once again, pay attention to the lay of the land and begin highlighting some of these. Barely touching, just gently tapping down. Now if there's a little hill here, you want the top of the hill to be the brightest because that's where the most light would strike. And then it'll get darker and darker and darker and darker and darker. Maybe. I see another one right there. Just visualize these in your mind and drop them in. Little Indian yellow. Just let them go. Maybe right here. There's one back in the distance. I don't want as much color back in here. Very, very soft, very quiet. I like this kind of painting because it has both harshness in the mountains and then it's very, very soft down here. And it brings so many different things together. Just the way nature does. And study nature. Nature is the best teacher. Nature will teach you color, composition. Just study it. Look at what's around you. No matter where you live, even if you live in the city, nature's still there. Beautiful things everywhere. But sometimes we look at them every day and we get to where we don't see them. There we go. Okay, now while I have this big old brush going here, tell you what, maybe this big tree lives right here. So I'm gonna go right back into this dark color. This is that black, right into some sap green. I'm gonna pull this brush in one direction. Look at there. Really pull it through the paint. Turn it around here so you can see the end of it. Look at all the paint that's in that son of a gun. It is really full. Okay, let's go up to the canvas. Now, decide where you want to have a tree. And maybe a tree lives right there. Touch, push, bend. Just touch it, bend it. Touch it and bend it. Really make that brush work. Make the paint work. Maybe it comes right on down the hill here. This is just black, this sap green in it. And we just fill all this in. And in case you joined us late, the black is made from alizarin crimson and phthalo green. Makes a beautiful, beautiful, true black, and it's very transparent. On a lot of the shows, we do the black canvases, and we're always looking for transparent color. Okay, maybe going down this hill here, tell you what, use the same old black and green color. Throw a little Prussian blue in it, that's nice and strong. Maybe there's some little evergreens that live right there. And same as we did in the back here, we're just making indications of these little evergreens. We don't want to get them too distinct. We want them to run right over the edge of the hill, right on off into the distance. There they go. Now, maybe, tell you what, maybe there's one that lives right there. Maybe it rained a little more on him and he got strong, or maybe he's a little older. We'll make a little more detail. Tough old tree. But even tough old trees need friends, so we'll give him a little friend right there. Right there. Now then, let's use a 1-inch brush. I'll put a little paint thinner on it. Or you could use a little magic white. I'm using paint thinner today. Just something to thin the paint. Our golden rule, if you remember, thin paint will stick to a thick paint. Pull that brush through there. A lot of color on it. Okay, let's go up here. Now then, touch, push, and this is where we make all the beautiful highlights. Now, when you're doing this at home, if your paint doesn't want to stick on here, which is one of the major problems, then your paint's too thick. Add a little bit of paint thinner or a little magic white to it, and you'll find it sticks. You have to start with a paint that's very thick. I'm adding a little yellow ochre to my color. And we'll go right here, and we'll make another happy little bush. Just like so. And right there, there's another one. Just drop him in. Okay, maybe there's one right there. Wherever. This is your world, so you drop them in where you want them. Tell you what, I'll just wipe off this fan brush a little bit, and I'm gonna go right into some Van Dyke brown. And maybe there's a big, beautiful pine tree that lives right here. I like to do big trees. And I'm just using this Van Dyke brown and tap Just tap it right into the canvas. Oh, there's a big old tree coming right along there. Now we need some highlight on this tree, so without cleaning the brush, I'm going right into some burnt umber and a little bit of white. And I'm going to come right down the side here and just put a little bit of highlight right along here, just like so. There we go. And just work it in. Now then, with a little bit of paint thinner on the liner brush, I'm going into some brown. And let's put a happy little elm or two out here on this tree. And I'm turning the brush so it makes all kinds of little things happen. Just like so. And we're using a paint here that's very, very thin, and it flows. So wherever you want these limbs, just drop them in. Maybe if they come right on around, wherever. They don't all just hang right off the sides. And we can put some little arms out here, like that, okay? Now then, I'm gonna use a little yellow, a little sap green, and we'll put a little tiny bit of highlight on these little evergreens here. Don't want much, I wanna keep them dark. And back to my other pan brush with the white on it, and maybe, I'll tell you what, there's a little bitty path. There it is, right there. Give us the indication of a little path. Then with the fan brush, you can just very gently pop in some little grassy areas. Just pushing upward with the brush, let them go. There's some right there, coming right on along. And that easy, you can build a beautiful mountain, almighty tree. Put a little leaf right up here. And I think with that, the old clock on the wall tells us it's time to go. So from all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy painting. God bless. I'll see you next week. Welcome back. I'm so glad you could join us again this week. And today I'm very, very excited. We've got so many cards and letters wanting to know how to paint saw blades that I've invited a special lady in today. I would like to introduce you today to a close personal friend of mine. I've known her and her husband Joe for quite a while. I'd like to introduce you today to Dorothy Dent. She comes to us right out of Missouri. Dorothy, we're so glad to have you with us today.
Thank you, Bob. I'm really glad to be here.
Well, I'm going to get off here and let you show them how to do a saw blade, and I'll be back with you at the end of the show.
Good deal. Thank you. Okay, we're going to paint a saw blade today. You know, saws come in so many different interesting shapes and sizes, and many of you at home may have a blade that you would like to paint on. If you have one, check it for rust, and if it's rusty, remove that with some sandpaper or steel wool, and then spray your blade with a metal primer. That'll keep it from rusting back through. Then spray with a flat black acrylic, and you're ready to paint. I like to start with a loose sketch that I've already put on this one, and I think they're going to show the colors that we'll be using today, and so we'll just get right on into our painting. Let's start with our sky. I like to start at the very back and move forward, and let's go in with a large bristle brush, and you want to make sure you're using a bristle brush. Let's pull the white out where we can get to it, and I like a rather soft white here, and then pick up some Prussian blue. You know, Prussian blue is really a strong color, so we don't really need a great deal. And that's rather bright, so now I'm going to add just a touch of black, and this will gray that blue right on down. Okay, get a color mixed up there, that's good. And then we'll start right up here at the top of your sky, and use the bottom corner of your brush. I'm giving it a little pushing motion as I go. And the reason I like to spray these saws black is I use that black, pull that paint out a little thin in places, and that gives you a little variation in your color tones. Leave some room for some clouds. Now we're going to put a cloudy sky in. See, that part's real easy. Now we need to clean our brush, clean it real good, and dry it out. Bristle brushes tend to hold the turp, and I like to keep them rather dry. And then we'll pick up some white again, and I'm gathering this on one flat side of the brush. Then turn your brush so the paint is to the top, and we'll come right on in and just puff up a real nice little cloud. Now the paint's heavier up here at the top of your cloud, and then as you're losing some of that paint out of the brush, pull some of the blue into the base of your cloud. Now here can be another one, so I'm going to gather a little bit more paint again. Now come right up here again, and here's another one. You have to kind of watch, or you have a tendency to work your clouds in long rows, and we don't really care about that. Let's come right on down toward the ground line and keep your brush more or less moving back and forth across the base of the sky. Now there's a nice soft puffy cloud, and that wasn't hard at all. Now let's go into that same color and darken it just a little bit more. A little more blue and just a little more black. Again, it just kind of works into the brush here. And let's give ourselves a little distance back in here. Hold your brush kind of sideways and just pat very loosely to get a suggestion of some real soft trees way off in the distance. You know how they look kind of blue-green when you see things from afar. And just right in through there. Now I want to get rid of that white that's in the brush. I'm going to clean it again. And we will go into a darker color because we've got some foliage that will be coming right on down into the foreground. So we're going back into our black and our blue and get a color that's just somewhat darker. Now, back again, and this time I'm on the bottom corner of the brush, and I'm just going to puff in this foliage. Up toward the top, you can let it look a little bit loose. Come around your building. I kind of leave a bit of space there for the building. If you get over into it some, it isn't going to hurt a thing. Now, we're just going to let that color set up a bit, and we're going to work on our building. Let it dry just a bit. Now, let's go to a small sable brush. Something, in a medium size is fine, doesn't have to be too tiny. And let's pick up some burnt umber, and we'll lay this right underneath the edge of our barn eave there. And this side will determine will be our shadowed side, so we'll just put a little bit in here. It's not going to show up too much on that black, but we'll see it in a minute. Then I'm going to wipe that brush a little bit and then pick up some Venetian red. That's a good barn color. And let's start right here on the front and stroke down. Follow the line of your boards. These boards were nailed on up and down, so that's the way we're going to paint them. Leave some of that black showing in between there just a little bit, and that'll help your board line look. Let's put just a hint over here. Watch the corner of your building because we're going to need good sharp contrast there. Okay, we'll wipe our brush and then we'll pick up just a little bit of white. And we'll stroke right up on the front of that barn. See that highlight that's going to put on there? Just a bit. That's really all we need. Just something to soften it in there. Okay, let's go to just a little bit smaller flat sable now. And we've got a little bit of a window up here at the top. Most of those barns had a loft up there. We need to paint that in. That's black. And I've got just a touch of white now, and we're going to just suggest a little edge to our window. Okay? Now then, we're going to clean our brush again. Well, now wait just a minute. Let's go back into that burnt umber and black here and make a little bit of a underneath the overhang of the roof area. From the angle we're seeing that barn, we'll see just a little shading there. Okay, now then, we'll go to a little larger brush, and let's get a little gray blue on this roof. Now we're going to establish this picture at this point as a snow scene. So we're going to have some gray blue on that roof for shading in the snow, and then a little white, and we'll come right across the top of that roof and then pull down just very loosely to suggest the snow piled on the roof. We don't want to overwork our paint at this point because it'll just get too much all one color. Okay, now then, just a little bit of an edge right over here. That snow's piled up high on the other side. There. Okay, now let's go to a fan brush and make just a suggestion of some snow on our background trees. This is a little bit of pale blue and white. That's that same blue mix, and add some white. Load your brush on one flat side, like that, see? Okay, now with the paint up, we need to come in right on the corner and tap. Notice how this is going to throw your brighter paint right there to that edge. We want these leaves to look like they're hanging over the barn just a little bit, just like so. Now you at home will have a bit more time than we have here, and you can take a liner and go back and add more little sticks and twigs and all kinds of things in here. Just kind of let them go in and out. They'll just look great, but we're going to leave that for you to do at home. Okay, let's go on down to our foreground. And let's take, a medium-sized brush, and we'll go into that blue-gray again, and we'll establish the shading in the snow. And we're going to very quickly just brush in right here above that water. We'll brush in that shadow of the bank where it will begin to drop down toward the water. We want to show the drop with a shadow, and we've got a little bit over here behind that barn. That's the shadowed side of the barn. It's going to throw a shadow on the ground, too. Okay, then we've got another little bank here, and let's get some shading at the bottom of it. And while we're putting shadows in, let's just do it all and get some down here in the foreground, too. And that way we'll have that much established. Now, when you're pulling pulling out these shadows, particularly in the shadow area, allow some of that black to work for you. Sometimes people cover their canvas with black and they're not used to that, or their saw blade or whatever they're painting on, and they think, gee, they better cover up all that black. Well, that's not the reason we put it on there. We just put it on there so you can use it. Okay, we'll just get a little bit of that in there. That should be enough, and we'll just let that sit. Now then, we need to put our white in our snow, and we'll go to a little flat brush here, and we'll take our white and pull it out, load it on one side of the brush, and come right across the background trees with your white. Now, as you move down toward your blue, we'll be working right into it there in a minute, and we want to go with the direction that that ground is sloping. Very important when you're painting ground, whether it's grass or snow or whatever it is. Back in here, it's more flat, so that's the way we work our brush. Let's let that pile up under that barn just a little bit. Right in through there. Back here in the shadows. Work it in. Just kind of go around the hole. A little bit of shading maybe from over here to the side. Then we've got a little more white right in here, and here is another bank, and so we've got to make a distinction there. And we'll just put that white in, and we'll brush the blue into it. There. Now then, let's let that rest just a little while. That looks good. And we'll go back to our big brush and put a little bush here. We've left an area here unpainted. So back to our dark colors. And we'll just puff that in. There, it comes out here just a little bit. Okay, now back to our fan brush. Remember, we were loading only on one side, and then turn it so your paint is up. And again, just give it a hit. Don't drop the handle down like so. Just stand it up, and that gives it a little bounce, and you can just make all kinds of bushes. Okay, let's go to our water. Get down here. We've got a little stream coming down through this field, and we always want to lay our dark in the water first. So we're going to pick up our Prussian blue and our black again. Now, right in here, right under the bank. And then pull down slightly. You won't see this too good again, but we have to have a little bit of the dark there for the moistening on the surface. And we'll just pull that down. Again, some of that dark of the saw blade can work for us. There's a little bit of a dip in your bank here. And then we will clean out our brush. Okay, now then, we're going to go to our gray-blue. Mix again, and we're going to start right in under the dark. I'm not starting in it, I'm starting just under it, and pull down, pull down. There's a tendency, especially when your banks are a little bit zigzaggy, you want to tend to follow the contour of the bank and pull this way sometimes, but we really don't want to do that because your reflections look much better if they're going down. That's the way they need to go. You want to pull that dark right into that gray-blue. Now I'm kind of staying away from the middle of the water. We want that to catch some of the light from the sky. You know, water is clear and it just reflects what's around it. So this water is going to reflect what is around it. Now then, right in that middle, let's pick up some white. And I'm going to put just a speck of orange in it. This will give it just a little off-white. And then we'll start right in that center and work right over the gray-blue. But you start with heavier paint in the middle and then work out toward your other colors. And that way, you're not losing those colors. When everything gets in and covered, we have a nice reflection there. We'll take our brush. Same brush is fine, or you might want to use a fan. But you want to just go wiggly, wiggly, real soft and light. If you push too hard at this point, what's going to happen is you're going to overblend your water because you will take out those downward strokes. And that way, your water begins to have a flat look, and we really don't want it to look like it's flat and hard. Just a little bit there. Okay? Now we're going to let that rest a little while, and then we'll go back and do some things to that bank. But real quickly, we can get our foreground in here. We've got quite a bit of snow right here in this front section. And again, we might pick up just a touch of orange right up here to the top. That will brighten it up and put just a hint of warmth in your snow. Looks like the sun might be hitting it at that point. Okay, and again, you remember to follow the slope of the ground. Okay, there is our front end. Now let's go back and do a little bit of work to this back bank. That doesn't look real to have just a straight line. So we're going to double load our brush. Now when I double load a brush, I'm loading it on one flat side here, and then I'm turning it over and putting a little white on the other flat side. Now we're starting right at the bank and pulling toward the water. See what happens? That will pull just a bit of a little drop off down. See that? And then just blend it right there. Now anything that's down in that water needs to be flat. Remember that. Sometimes instead of doing a whole lot of little drop-offs, we don't want to lay them along just one right after the other. It looks better if you just kind of soften out that line. And just put a few little snow-covered rocks or little chunks in there. They will look very nice in your painting. And while we've got this brush in our hand, let's double load with our burnt umber this time. There's burnt umber on one side, and turn it over, and a little of the white, any kind of that dirty white's fine, on the other side. And we're going to come down on the chisel edge of the brush. Now, I'm starting right there and just pulling down, and look what happens. You get a light and a dark stroke at the same time, and there comes a little fence right on down to the edge of the water. Okay. In fact, these barn lots have lots of little fences. Let's put a little old wiggly one right back here in the back. It might have lost a few rails along with the years, so we don't need to make too much perfect rails there. Let's put a little brace post there, okay? Now then, we need to work on our foreground just a little bit here, so I'm cleaning that same brush and picking up burnt umber and a little black. We're going to put a tree right here in the front. I'm picking up just a little bit of medium at this point. I like to use a medium that is a dryer, something that will help to speed your drying of your paint a little bit, plus thin it. And we'll start right in here. You can just decide where you want to make a tree. That tree can grow anywhere. Just balance this picture off with a little tree shape right here in the foreground, and we're just going to base in that trunk. Pick up some of our background colors, and that'll help to give your tree just a little bit of highlighting anyway. There it is, just grew right there. Now then, let's clean our brush and get rid of that dark. And back to our white again, and load one flat side, and I'm turning the brush so the white is against the outside edge. And I'm coming right down on the side and just establishing a nice sharp line. See how I'm just pulling that in? Okay, a little more paint, and now let's do little chopping strokes pulling over into that tree. See what that does? That gives you a little bark texture and makes it look like that the snow has stuck to that tree when it blew in the wind. Go around a few little areas and see, you've got some little holes for the squirrels to crawl in. Okay, now we better have a limb or two. And again, I'm going to double load. One flat side, like this, then turn it over and have your white on the other side. Now, to me, it's easier to start on the outside and pull in, and I'm coming down right on the bottom corner of the chisel edge. Now, see it turn? Then push harder as you get into the tree. And then just a few strokes there will blend it in. That takes just a little practice. But you can do it because it's not hard. Just start right down here and then pull in. Very easy. It helps to keep the dark side a little moist. That way your paint will slide. Where to put limbs? Big dilemma. Not really so big. You can put them anywhere. Just try to get a balanced look as you go. Just kind of balance that tree out. Doesn't have to have limbs in any certain place. These are the main limbs that we're putting on. And then we're going to take our liner and thin that paint just a bit. And let's start right here and pull out a few small twigs. Have to keep that dark pretty moist too. Okay, these are just like our other limbs. We can just let those wiggle right on out there just anywhere. Some of you may have trouble holding your hand up in the air to do this. You can always brace your hand with the end of a brush or use a maul stick. A lot of artists like to do that. Gives you a little support. And we'll just, let's put a little one down in here. He's just kind of wiggling off down here. Make your limbs bigger where they connect to the tree. Mother Nature does that, so we better too. She knows how. Darken that one just a little. I'll put a little wiggly limb right in through there. Okay, now then, this tree isn't going to have any leaves on it. Maybe those back in there are oak trees. They hold their leaves all winter, so they've got some leaves that are catching the snow. But this old tree here is bare, so we'll just let it sit And we'll go back to our flat brush and double load again. And we're putting in, just an old post. It's down here in the front, and it's got a brace on it. And we've got another one over here that's leaning a little. This fence was built a long time ago, so it's not in real good shape. And part of it is down. Little snow on one side. Snowed so hard everywhere else, we'd better have some there. Just a little bit on one side of the brush. Many times people load both sides of their brushes when they only need to load one side, and then they get paint where they don't really want it to be. Okay, now we better plant those little posts. They're floating up in the air right now, so let's go back to our bush color, background tree color, a little Prussian blue and black again, and back to that big brush and just bounce that in, right down in the front here. Just get some real loose little bushes, some of them taller than others. Okay, that'll cover the bottom up of the tree there too. And then we'll go back to our fan brush, and let's get a little snow on these bushes. No doubt it's fallen there too. Again, notice the angle of the brush. It's sideways. And we're just bouncing in real nice, loose, lacy looking little snow clusters here. Okay. Now, right in under these, let's say that we've got a little snow that's drifted, and we'll just go ahead with our fan and just kind of soften that in underneath and pull it to the side a bit. This will give us a little wind-blown look. Drift it up in there. This will also give you just a little bit of contrast in color, but it's still keeping darker colors toward the front, and you want to always pull the light into the back or middle of your painting. I think that's just about done.
Dorothy, thank you very much. That is beautiful. Didn't I tell you she was fantastic? We'll be looking forward to seeing you next week. Until then, happy painting. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Hello, so glad you could join me today. And today we're going to do something fantastic that I think you'll really love. We're going to use a black canvas, and I'm going to do an almighty seascape here and show you how to do some fantastic things. First of all, we'll have them run all the colors that we're going to use across your screen so you can see exactly how my palette's laid out. And while they're doing that, let me explain what I've already done on the canvas here. We have a black canvas. This is painted with a flat black acrylic and allowed to dry. Now on the bottom, I've started out with burnt umber, and I've put a little strip of burnt umber across the bottom. Then I've blended that right into Van Dyke brown, right into phthalo green, and a little phthalo blue around it, and the whole top of the canvas is done in Prussian blue. So it's very strong, very, very dark blue color. And it should still look black. That's a good way to tell if a color is transparent. When you put it on a black canvas, it should still look black. So, now that we've got the color on there, let's start off. Let's do a fantastic painting together. I'm going to use the old fan brush today, and I'm going to go right into a little bit of titanium white. Now, when you're doing a black canvas, you'll find that color shows up much, much stronger than it does on a white canvas. So, okay, got the fan brush loaded up. Let's go up to the canvas, and maybe there's a happy little cloud. There's right there. Right there. And use the corner of the brush, tight little circles. Just let it play, have fun. Okay, darker. Just want the edges to be bright. A little bit more paint. And maybe, there's a, oh, there it is. Big, beautiful cloud that just sort of floats around right there. And comes right across, there it is. Just let it wander around, have fun. Clouds are free. One of the freest things in nature. There we go. Okay, now let's take the old 2.5-inch brush, and using just the corner, I'm very lightly gonna blend the bottom of this cloud out. I'm not touching the top. Just blending the bottom, and then lift it up, and gently blend it. Very lightly. Same thing. Do it again. Okay, let's do this one right around my cat. Just blend it out. And there we go. But you see how a little bit of color shows up on this black canvas. It really stands out. It's a beautiful, beautiful medium. And you can do all kinds of fantastic things. It's not limited to seascapes or landscapes. It makes beautiful, beautiful still lifes, beautiful floral paintings. It really, really works. We've taught some people who make their entire living now doing nothing but black canvases. And there's certainly, certainly a happy buck in it. All right. There we go. And a little cloud. And this is your world, so however many clouds you want, that's how many you ought to have. So let them float around the sky. Have fun. There. Okay, now, once again, take a 2.5-inch brush and very gently blend the bottom out. Just blend the bottom out. And you need some of these nice dark areas in here. They end up being the shadows. Don't want to kill all those with color. Leave them in. Leave them in. Let things happen. Let the canvas work, let the brush work. That's when the prettiest things happen, when you're not expecting it. See? And then lift it up, and then gently brush it. And that easy, you have fantastic clouds. Maybe there's another little cloud. It's just little floaters that float right down in here. Just let them play. Let them play there. Okay, now we'll blend these, and I think we'll be ready to take a look-see and see what we have going here. When you're painting at home, step back sometime and look at your painting. Step back, and it really helps you see the painting better. Lift that up. There. Okay, let me wash the old fan brush off here. And we're in business. Now wash the brush with odorless paint thinner. Okay. Better wash this big one too before we get started. We'll start with all clean brushes. That's a lot of fun. Okay, let's mix up a good black color. And for black, we'll use alizarin crimson and phthalo green. Alizarin crimson and phthalo green. I know it sounds crazy, but it comes out to make a beautiful, beautiful black color. True black. And it's also very, very transparent. It works extremely well when you need a transparent paint. Okay, mix it very good. Pick the paint up off the palette and turn it over. That assures that you mix it evenly. Now, you really can't tell what color you have there. So let me wipe the knife off, and we'll check their color. And the only way to check it is take a little bit of white and see if it's what you're looking for. And that's about what I'm looking for. A nice, good, true gray. And we know anytime we put white or a light value with that, that's what we're going to get. Okay? Good. Now, let's use the old fan brush today. Load a lot of paint into the bristles. Really get it filled up. There you go. Pull it through both sides, just like that. So you turn that brush and get both sides. All right, let's go up to the canvas here. Maybe there's a big stone out in the water here. Huge big stone. It comes right down. And just use the corner of the fan brush. Big bump. Just let your hand wiggle and put all these beautiful little shapes in here. Maybe this, there it goes. Right out through there. And we just fill all this in. The fan brush is a fantastic, fantastic brush. It will do things that you almost can't believe, but you gotta make friends with it. There we go. And just let that wander right on off into the blue. All right, and maybe on this big stone, maybe it's so big, maybe there's some trees that live out there. And let's go right up here, and we touch the canvas, and we use just the corner of the brush. And we'll put a happy little tree. Lives right there. There he is. There he is. And maybe there's several trees. However many you want. This is your big stone, so you can put as many trees on it, or as few. Just little indications here and there, wherever. Nice little tree, lives right there. There we go. Now, I have several fan brushes, so I don't have to clean them continually. But at home, if you only have one brush, that's fine. You just have to clean it more than I do. Take a little bit of the Van Dyke brown, a little white, and then a little bit of this black color, or gray. There. Load a lot of color into the brush. Okay, let's go back to the canvas here. And we'll put a little bit of highlight here. So just gonna let this just barely touch. Make all these beautiful little highlights. And let them just wander right on into nothing. Okay, a little more paint on the brush. Maybe there's a little highlight. Right there. Right there. And there, I see some on that. Wherever you want it to be. Now back to our brush with the black on it. And we touch and pull down. Brush strokes are very, very important in this. Very important. Your brush strokes form your rocks. See how easy it is, though, to make some beautiful rocks standing out here? Isn't that quick? Well, that would come right on through. But you got to make decisions. Which one's in front, which one's in back. There we go. Okay, maybe that went so well. Maybe. There it is. Let's go right up here. There we go. Let's just lay another big rock right along there. Lay some dark in. Now we need something to separate these two rocks. So an easy way to create a separation between them is to put some mist in there. Let's take a 2.5-inch brush, a little bit of white paint on it, and just very gently, very, very gently, tap in a little bit of mist. Very little paint. Once again, color shows up so much stronger on this black canvas than it does on a white canvas. So very, very little paint. I can't tell you that enough. There we go. Now, lift it gently up, following all these angles that you put into your rocks. Don't want to lose those. And that'll give us the illusion of a tiny little bit of mist, just enough to separate. And now we go back to this. And why don't we bring this one right on down, like there. Fill all that in with good dark color. And since we're using a black here that's extremely transparent, it really doesn't matter if we get a little bit into what's going to be water, because it is so transparent, it will work. Okay, maybe there's a happy little tree or two that lives out here. Right here. I see it. Right there. Corner of the brush, back and forth. This is still the black color. All this is done in black. Okay, and maybe there's a friend that lives right there. There it is. Okay. And another one right up through there, wherever you want a tree. In your world, you decide where the trees are. This one, it just runs all the way off the canvas. All right. Maybe there's just a couple little indications back here. Thanks. Okay, now, let's go back, and we'll pick up a little of the Van Dyke brown, a little of the gray color, and let's drop in a few little highlights on this one. Sometimes use a brush sideways. And just make all kinds of beautiful little things happen here. Okay, maybe. There it is. Just pick out things, drop them in. Wherever. You can do anything. Anything. There we go. Maybe there's a big projection here. Play with these rocks. Boom, 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 boom. I'm using the black color again. Just like so. Make a big old projection out of that. A lot of fun. Now we bring down some highlight and just bring it right up to the edge. Like so. Good. Now I'm going to take a little bit of paint thinner and my liner brush, and I'm going to put it into some permanent red. Very thin. There. Turn that brush. Get a lot of paint on it. All right, let's go back to the canvas here. Now, I want to just sort of highlight the edges of these stones. So you put it in, and then work it a little bit. There we go. Just put it in, let it work. And maybe right around here. Just a little of this nice permanent red, and just blend it in. Make some beautiful little things happen. Sets all this off. Okay, and maybe on this first one we did back here, maybe there's just a tiny little bit of a knit also. We don't want it to be left out. There we go. Just here and there a little bit. Okay, let's get into the fun part now. Now it's time to start playing with the water. I'm going to take a small amount of titanium white. Just a small amount. I'm going to go right back here, and I want the water to look like it's going sort of between these two rocks. So I'm just going to put in a little color like that. Very, very little. Wipe that knife. There. I try to keep this fairly straight. You don't want your water to run out of one side, and it will. will. If it's not straight, your water will look like it's going to run right out of the painting. Get your floor wet, then you yell at me. Okay. And that gives us a nice indication back here. A little bit of water, and very lightly with a clean brush, very lightly. We'll just blend over that. Very, very light. Okay. Now let's take the old fan brush, and we'll go right back into my white. And let's have a little wave back here in the background that's beginning to crash, and it's coming up. You gotta make a decision. And make it. Where's it gonna be? Boom, right there. Just let it go. And I'm sliding that brush and then pushing it in, put the highlight on the top. Okay, maybe there's some stones back here that this wave's crashing over. So we'll take some black, and let's put a happy little stone right in here. Sure will, so put your stone where you want. See, I've got several fan brushes going in to save you a lot of washing if you have several brushes. A lot of brush washing. Okay. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of magic white to my paint so it's a tiny, tiny bit thinner. Maybe there's water that's coming. Put a little blue in there. There we go. Maybe the water's coming over. Choom. Over these stones, hitting, splashing. It's running all down through there. Wherever. Waves hitting up against the back. Now, in here. Just use this little stroke. See? Gives the impression the water's choppy. Guess that's a fair word to use, choppy. I'm bad about making up words, so don't look them up in a dictionary. They probably won't be there. It's like the little things under evergreen trees. I never could figure out what they were called, so I just call them hanging downs. And they sort of hang underneath the tree. Okay, let's take a little bit more of the blue. And maybe there's a wave it's hitting right here. There it is. Wherever you want it. And it sort of curls back, splashes and crashes. And it's coming from here and coming over. There it comes. Then it comes from here and come over. There. Sort of comes up and pushes. Whoosh. And it helps make little sounds. Okay, I'm going to take a tiniest little bit of the cad yellow. And I'm going to just play a little bit right in here. I just want this wave to pick it up. Just to pick it up. Now this is the reason I put the brown under here rather than blue. Is so this yellow won't turn bright green. I don't want it to turn totally green. Okay, a little white involved in it here. Just make it look like foam. We want just a little yellowish hue. God, that looks terrible. I'm in trouble now. All right, now, let's take and pull this water right over the top of it. Right over. Let it crash. Okay, add a little bit more blue right in there. And just, this is phthalo blue. And just allow these colors to play. Now, we need to separate it here, so I need a little bit of color. Maybe it's coming almost straight towards you here. This wave's breaking right there. There we go. There. Now, we need a dark line. There has to be some dark color right there to separate these and let it play down into the wave. This is that black color, just a little, just enough to separate it, like so. Okay, maybe down in here we can start playing with some little watery things. Just like so, there we are. I want to have some reflections. So to make reflections, all we do is just pull it down. Just use the fan brush, big brush, whatever, pull straight down. And take a large brush and pull it down. Just like we're making reflections in a happy little pond. And then very lightly go across it. And now we'll take a little bit of paint and put in a happy little water line in here. Pull this straight back. Keep it flat. Keep it flat. Okay. Now let's put some little stones in here. Maybe there's a happy little stone right there. Happy little stone. Everything is happy. And there's one. Wherever you want these little stones. This is one sort of like a California, Oregon type coast. Beautiful, beautiful oceans there. And however many stones you want. Just drop some little highlights on them. Some out here on this one. Wherever. There we go. Now we can come back in here and put some little watery things. Let's add a little blue to that. There we go. Beautiful. There. And we need some crashing going on in here. There. The water spilling around all over. Okay, let's take the liner brush here with a little bit of paint thinner on it, and I'm going to go right into some light color. And let's just do this. Just do a little bit of that. This is paint thinner on the brush. Okay, now then, I'm going into some blue. This is phthalo blue with a little white and paint thinner. And let's put all kinds of little watery things just dripping over this rock. Just like so. It's your rock, so wherever you want it. Just let them play. Okay, maybe there's some over there. Wherever. Just think about where, in your mind, the water would crash over some of these rocks. And at home, you can really take your time and put a lot of little things in there. Let's take a little bit of the dark color, and right under the edge here, we'll set this wave up, this foam up a little bit by just putting a little dark line here. Just a little line. Okay. And that should give you an idea of how you can make a fantastic seascape in very little time. And it works. It works so nice. And I think you'll enjoy that one. Okay, I think we'll sign this one. We'll take a little bit of permanent red right on the old liner brush. Bring that brush to a nice sharp point. Go right up here. And we'll sign it. Glad I have a short name. And with that, we'll call this painting finished. And from all of us here, we'd like to wish you happy painting. God bless. See you next week. Welcome back. I'm glad you could join me today. And today I thought I'd do something that's very soft, very quiet. I think you'll enjoy it. So let's start out. I'm going to take a large brush. I've already covered the canvas with Magic White. And I'll have them graphically run all the colors across the screen so you can see the colors we're going to use today. And they'll be in the same order that I have them on my palette. And I'll start with a little bit of alizarin crimson and just really work it into the brush so you have a nice even distribution of color. I'm going to go right up in here and just here and there lay in a little bit of crimson. Beautiful, beautiful little pink color. Then without cleaning the brush, I'm going to go right into a little bit of Prussian blue without cleaning the brush. And very lightly, let it bounce around and play. Don't cover up your crimson because the blue is so many times stronger than the crimson, it'll eat it all up. Just let it play. Maybe we'll go into a little tiny bit of burnt umber, just a small amount, and just lay some of that here and there. Just to gray it down a little. And we'll put a little bit of the pinkish color down in here. Just general idea. A little bit of the crimson. A little bit of blue. And we still haven't cleaned the brush. Just put in some nice soft little colors and let them go. Okay, now, very lightly, I'll blend all this together. very lightly, barely touching the canvas. Just like so. Okay, and that'll give us a nice little background to work with. Now let's put some little background trees in here, and I'll use the same dirty brush, and we'll go right into some Van Dyke brown and a little bit of the burnt umber. And we'll just take the corner of the brush here, and I'm just gonna lay in some basic little shapes. We're not worried about a great deal of detail here. We're just looking for very basic, quiet little shapes. Van Dyke brown, burnt umber. Very, very basic. Just have fun, enjoy. There we go. Maybe this just goes right on up. We'll just let it go. What the heck? Put in all kinds of little background things happening. Wherever you want them. This is your world. Just let things happen. Let them fall off the brush. Maybe a little darker right in here so we'll have a little separation. Okay. And while I have this dirty color on the brush, I know there's going to be a little bit of water right here, I think. So I'll just take the same color and pull down a little bit. And this will end up being reflections when we're all done. But since we don't know exactly where the water's going to be yet, we really don't care where this goes. Gently, gently, gently go across, very lightly. Okay. Then we'll take a 1-inch brush and go right into a little bit of cadmium yellow, little yellow ochre, and just mix these on the brush. I think I'll put a tiniest little bit of paint thinner into the brush, just to thin the paint down. So we got cad yellow, yellow ochre, and I'll take the smallest amount of sap green. Now there's 3 different colors mixed here on the brush. Now we're gonna go right up here, and I'm just using the corner of the brush, and I want to tap in some color. This is just background color, just here and there. Just barely touching the canvas. I'm not looking for detail yet, just laying in color. Let's add a little bit more green to that. There, just here and there. As I say, we are not looking for detail yet. These are just background colors. Let's go into a little bit of the permanent red and mix it in, just to break it up a little bit. Oh, that's pretty. Very nice. Just wherever. Okay, now we'll take, after you have some of these basic shapes laid in, we'll take a clean, dry, 2.5-inch brush, and I'm going to use just the corner of the brush, and I'm just going to touch, and I'm going to soften all this. Make it very, very soft, very quiet. And you can take the corner of the brush and really soften up the edges. Make it look very far away. Just touch. There, okay? Now we'll just quickly run through these. We want to make this very soft, very far away. Quiet. Look at there. Look at there. Great big brush. It makes little delicate, soft things like that. Just give it a chance. Let it go. And that quick, you got a beautiful little background. Okay, now we'll take a little bit of the yellow, maybe, and I'll just drop in some more little indications here and there, wherever you want them. Remember, this is your world. You create the illusions that you want. Pull a little bit of that color down into the reflections. And lightly go across. Okay, with a liner brush and a little bit of thin oil here, we can go into some Van Dyke brown. And we'll just make a few little indications here and there of some trunks. We're not worried about a lot of detail, too far away. And you can lift upward or pull downward, whichever way is more convenient. Just here and there, maybe back in here. You can make out some indications. These will be way in the background. There. Then with our large brush, I'm going to gently tap here and there, just to soften and break them up. Now we can take a little bit of color and just add some little indications up through here. Not looking for detail. Now the other corner of the brush is clean, so I'll turn it over and I'll soften it. There we go. There. All kinds of little things happening. Now let's take some magic white, and I'll put it on the palette, and I'm going to mix a little bit of the brown in. Now this will be a very thin paint. Cut across it. And let's go right up in here. And let's just lay in all kind of little things here. Just let them go. Look at there. Super nice little way to make a very, very effective background, and very quickly. You can make these as soft as you want them, or you can make them very bright, very distinct. It's an individual thing, so let your imagination take you where you want to go. There. Okay. Gives us a nice little background. Now maybe there's some land that comes around through here. So let's go right into some Van Dyke brown with a little burnt umber mixed into it. Now figure out where you want land to be here. Maybe. There it is. There. Just make a decision and go. Just make a decision, let it go. There. See that quickly we have some dirt in here. Now we'll come back and put some grass on it and all kinds of beautiful little foliage. There. Okay. And then let's put some highlights on there. And I'll take some brown, a little bit of Prussian blue, and white. I'm going to add a little phthalo blue to that, brighten it up just a tiny bit. There we go. Makes a nice gray, sort of a blue-gray. Okay, we'll load a little bit of paint on the knife, and let's go right up here. There. Follow the lay of the land. It's very, very important. And just lay on a few little highlights. Just a few. And we'll take the same color and add white to it to make it another value lighter. And don't cover up all your first color. Put a few more highlights here and there. Just let the paint break. You're using a very, very delicate touch. No pressure. No pressure. Okay. And let's take the old fan brush, and I'm going to go right into some Van Dyke brown, a little burnt umber, and a little bit of white, so it's sort of a light color. I'll tell you what, let's take and put a tiniest little bit of paint thinner on that. Thin it tiny little bit so it'll come off the brush a little easier. So we can go right over the top of this thicker paint back here. And maybe back in here. Maybe. There. Just a little tree lives right there. And he's got a little arm. And these are just little indications that are far away. And we can begin applying some color to that. And I'll take a little bit of the cad yellow ochre, and some sap green. And here I'm just going to use the corner of the brush and tap. You're just looking for a color that stands out a little bit. Don't want it real bright. Just tap on some basic shapes here. There we go. Just using the corner and making the brush bend downward. I'm going to add a little bit of paint thinner to my brush. And this is a little bit brighter yellow and green, and that'll stand out. There. That'll stand out, shine in the light. Okay, now we can start worrying about what's happening way back in here. Now, if you want to soften this, you can use the big brush and very lightly, just use the corner and just tap it. It'll soften it, bring it right down to any degree of softness that you want. Some people like to leave it brighter like that, and it's up to you, however you want it. Okay, I'm going back into the brown. Now, this time, I'm going to put white on one side, or a light color. Dark on one, light on the other, and maybe there's a nice tree, and he lives right there. So you do one tree and come forward. Always coming forward. And give him another branch. Right there. There we go. And just a few indications here and there. Wherever you want it. And don't worry about making a mistake on the limbs, because you're going to put leaves on this tree so you can cover up your mistakes. Of course, we don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents. Never make mistakes. Okay, and that'll give us a nice little tree trunk. And let's go right in here, and we'll take some yellow. Let's add a little bit of permanent red to our color this time. So I got yellow ochre, a little bit of permanent red. And as things get closer to you, they should get a little more distinct. You should be able to pick out more detail. And I'm just using the corner of this brush and just tapping. And you got to make basic little shapes. You can't just throw these in at random. Think about limbs, little projections. Think like a tree. Add give you a challenge. There we go. And we just let this go running off the canvas. We don't know where it goes. And if you want to highlight it, you can take a little bit of color. I'm using a little bit of sap green, a little yellow. And just here and there, touch. Now I'm not going to diffuse this one as much because it's closer, so I don't want to kill all of this. Just here and there. Okay, now let's take and begin laying some little things back in here. Start working on these land masses. And here we're just dropping in some basic color, just wherever. And with a large brush then, we'll tap that, just soften it, make it very, very soft, very quiet. Okay, now then let's go into some color. Now, to me, this area down in here would probably be in quite dark shadow. So I'm going to leave these colors very dark. I don't want to kill all my land mass in here. I'm going to leave a little bit of the land showing. And I'm still just tapping. It's just another way to use a brush to make all kinds of beautiful little things happen. There we are. And just sort of play with color, back and forth between all the colors that you've used in there. Now, maybe we want to show some light coming through here. So I'll take a little bit of the white. This is just white added onto the same brush to indicate a little light shining through here. Tiniest little bit, barely touch. Maybe there's a little grass that grows right in here, wherever. This is your world. So you drop them in where you want them. There we go. Nice and soft, quiet. And it'd be a super place to walk and sit under the tree and read a book and talk to the little squirrels or the bunny rabbits. Now you know my secrets. I talk to squirrels and bunny rabbits. Now, let's do another tree. God, gosh, trees are so much fun. This time we'll use a knife. I'm going to show you several different ways of making trees. And maybe there lives a big tree right here. And just let it go wherever it wants to go. Van Dyke Brown. A lot of paint on the knife. A lot of paint. Pull that paint out flat. Like that. And just cut you off a big hunk of paint. Want this tree to have texture. When the painting's dry, I want to be able to feel the bark. These back here are soft, farther away. This one's getting closer. Give him a big foots out here. There. There we go. Now, maybe he's got an arm right there. And since there's going to be a lot of leaves on here, we can just make indications and we don't have to worry a great deal about them being just perfect because the leaves are going to cover up most of them. There we go. Now we need some bark on that tree. And let's take some brown and white. And we'll put the tiniest little bit of permanent red in, just to sparkle it up a little bit. There. And we'll start, and all I'm going to do is just touch. Just touch. Little tiny bit of paint, and touch. Just touch it. Just follow right up the tree. Just where you think light would strike, make it brighter. Right on up. There we go, a little bit right there. There. Now on the other side, to indicate a little bit of reflected light, I'll take a little bit of Prussian blue and just lay a little color over here, cool color. It just helps give the tree a little more depth, a little more texture. Makes him a personality all of his own. And a little bit of grass growing around his foot. Cleans up the bottom. Okay, now let's take, and we'll go right into yellow, sap green, put a little bit of Van Dyke Brown there to dull it. Don't want it too bright. So we got yellow, sap green, little Van Dyke Brown. Now then, let's put some leaves right up here on this almighty tree. It's a big tree here. Just still using just the corner of the brush. Work with your basic patterns. There we go. brush with a yellow on it, and I'm going to lighten that same color. I've added a little bit of paint thinner to my brush just to thin the paint so it'll stick to the stick paint that we already have up here. And just here and there, lay a little bit of highlight. Just touch it like so, here and there. Let these little sparklers just fall right off your brush. There. Okay, now, maybe there's something lives over in the corner, a nice bush. And I'll use a large brush, and I'll go right into some Van Dyke brown, a little bit of the umber, and right there, right there. You decide where it's at, and drop it in. Drop it in. There you go. And while I got that old dirty color on the brush, maybe there's a nice bush that lives right here, and then it comes right down. There we are. Just let it come right on down through there. Now we can go back to our fan brush with the brown on it. And we'll put the indication of a couple little trunks in here. Just a couple little things happening inside. And back to our brush with the yellow on it. And just the corner of the brush. Drop in a few little shapes here and there. Maybe a little bit of red added in there. That'll sparkle that sun we got up. Make it shine. Just let all these little colors just come right off your brush. All the little greens and yellows. Okay, I'm going to take a tiny bit of the thin oil and thin down some brown. And we'll put a few little sticks that are poking out of here. Just here and there. Let some of these little things just have fun. Come out. Maybe there's one that lives right there. An old dead one. Okay, we can clean that brush up. Let's drop in a few little happy things right down in here. Now, we need something over in here. So I'm going to take a little bit of the same color, and we'll put a little more dirt right in there. And I think I'll make an almighty tree. This tree lives right there. Right there. That's how easy it is to make him. Van Dyke brown. Give him a nice trunk. Make him strong. Big foot. Then we need a little bit of highlight on this tree. Made the same way as we did the other one. Just some indications here and there. Let him go. A little bit of the blue. The blue, the blue. Okay, and then we can go in here. Put some little grassy areas all down here on his foots. Just like that. And we need, I'll use sap green. We need some leaves for this big tree. And this is just pure sap green. And it doesn't matter if you pick up that brown. You're looking for a very, very dark color. This is so close. So it should be very dark. And we'll put just a few, very, very few little highlights on this. And I hope this has given you some ideas and set your imagination on fire. And you'll do a fantastic painting. We'll sign this one. A little bit of thin oil. And there we go. And I hope you've enjoyed this painting. Be looking forward to seeing you next week. And from all of us here, happy painting. Welcome back. I'm glad you could join me today. Today we're going to do something that's quite a bit different. It's a lot of fun, and you're going to have a good time doing it with me. So I'll have them graphically run all the colors across the screen that you need to do this painting, and they'll start with a titanium white and go around in the same order that I have them on my palette. And while they're doing that, let's go up to the canvas and get started. We'll take the fan brush today, and we'll go right into a titanium white. And just put some right on the brush. Let's go up to the canvas. And today I want to do a scene like you're deep out into the woods, and maybe there's a little light coming through all these background trees, and I would just let things happen. A lot of times when, like in Oregon, California, etc., you go into the deep woods and you see scenes like this. So let's have some fun. And we start off here with a fan brush, and let's just do this. I've already covered this canvas with a thin coat of phthalo blue and sap green, and I just mixed them on the brush and covered the canvas with them. Okay, let's just do this here and there, wherever. Just let it go. Have fun. There. See? And I know you're saying, well, he's done it this time. He has got #1 mess going. Maybe. We'll see. Just have fun. Just let these things happen. Here and there. These are always fun paintings. And these black canvases, oh, they're so much fun. And they're good canvases to make you a happy buck, if you're interested in monetary gains. There, just here and there, wherever. Now we'll take our large brush and very gently, we'll just blend this out, smooth it out. There. Yeah. And that's all there is to that part. And I'll wash the brush. We wash our brushes with odorless paint thinner. Shake it off. And beat the bristles dry. Okay? Now I'm going to take another fan brush. I have several of them going here. And we'll mix up some color first. I want a black color, so I'm going to use phthalo green and alizarin crimson. And about equal amounts. Maybe a little bit more crimson than green. Tiniest bit more. Usually the phthalo green's a little bit stronger than the crimson. And when you're mixing color, pick it completely up off the palette and turn it over. That way it all gets mixed. Otherwise, what's against the palette when you're doing this won't get mixed if you don't pick it up and turn it over. Most important when you want to get a nice, even distribution and nice mix of color. All right. Now let's have some fun. Let's put some trees that are way back in the background here. And we'll take a fan brush, load it full of paint. And let's go right up here. And already you can begin seeing areas where it looks like trees. So we'll just take a little of this black color and fill it in. Wherever. These are your trees, so you put them where you want them. And every painting will be different. Every one. There's one. Let it go. Let it go. Make them as thick or as skinny as you want them. As many as you want. These are your woods, so whatever you want in there. There, okay. Maybe. I see another one right there. Right there. And this is such a nice painting because it's very simple to do. It works. This one will work on your first attempt. It's that easy. Now, I've got most of the paint off the end of the bristles here. I want to put some that are far, far away, so without adding more paint, I want this to be lighter. They're farther away. More lights between this tree and you. So I want that one to be lighter. Maybe he lives. There's one. Just let him go. Put them in at random. Wherever you think they should be. Tell you what, that looks like a natural place right there for a nice tree. So we'll put one in. Now, if you were real careful when you put your light color in here, you could probably leave these places and wouldn't have to go back and paint them. But I'm not very careful most of the time. I just throw things in and let them happen. Okay, maybe. There's one right there. Just drop it down. That easy. Maybe. There's another one. I see it right there, don't you? I think sometimes they're close together, sometimes they're far apart. Sometimes they grow in clumps, just however makes them happy. Just however. There. Maybe there's a big one right here that you can only see half of. Maybe the other half's off the canvas somewhere. And that's all we're doing. That's basically all you need to do to put in all these little indications. Now, I'm going to take the script liner brush. This is a #2 script liner. Put a little paint thinner in it and go right into the same color. Turn the bristles. Turn the brush. That brings it to a nice sharp point. Let's go up to the canvas. Now, I want to put some indication here and there of some limbs that are hanging across. And we'll just put these in very loose, very free. Let them go. This thin paint now will stick on top of the thicker paint. We use a very, very dry, firm paint underneath. And then we can put all these little things on. Very easy. See that? Like little limbs. Tell you what I want to do. This looks like little bushes, but I want to land up a little bit to soften it. Push them back a little further before I put too many limbs up there. That'll push them back. There's some right there. There. Push them back. Make them farther away. That easy. Okay. Now we go back. Put in a few more of these little limbs here and there. And you can put in as many as you want. As many as you want. Let them go. Let them happen. Just think like a tree. That's like, I remember my dad telling me when I was a kid, if I wanted to catch a rabbit, I stood behind a tree and made a noise like a carrot. And when the rabbit came by, you grab him. Works pretty good till you try to figure out what kind of noise a carrot makes. There. Needless to say, I didn't catch any rabbits. Okay. This would be a good place for a little rabbit to live. This beautiful, deep woods. Nobody'd ever find him in here. I spent quite a bit of time in Oregon, and this really reminds me of some of the scenes in Oregon. Oh, there's some beautiful, beautiful woods in Oregon like nowhere else. California, Northern California, beautiful things happen. Beautiful. There, okay? Now maybe you don't want this one to feel left out. We'll put a few limbs here now. Just want to show you how to do this. You can put as many as you want. Back in there, a few. Just let them happen. Let them happen. Now already that should be giving you an impression of deep woods. Deep, deep woods. If your paint will not stick, add a little more of your paint thinner to your brush. You gotta have that thin paint to make it stick to the thick paint. Okay, now that will give us a nice feeling of some woods. Now maybe there's a... Tell you what, let's take a little bit of yellow. I'm using just this old dirty brush. Put a little green on it, a little green, and just tap it. Just tap. See, that'll load it up. Now let's go up to the canvas here. And we have to make some decisions back here. Maybe right in here. I use very little color. Color really stands out more on a black canvas than it does on a white canvas, so I use very little color. And I want this to be very soft. Oh my gosh, just like a little clearing back here in the woods. Little clearing. Very soft, beautiful little place. Be a nice place to go and sit and talk to the birds, the trees. I've added a little Indian yellow, little yellow ochre both to the brush. And just mix these on the brush. Mix them on the brush. Let things happen. Let them happen. There. See, we begin creating layers. Let's go right up here. Now we need some... The trees wouldn't all stop back there. Some of them will be closer. So we need to make some that are a little bit closer. We'll do that. Because we can do anything. We have an artist license that says anything we want to do, we can do. There we are. All right. Now let's go back to our fan brush, and I'll go right back into this black color. Right back into it. Okay. Let's pull a few of these trees out and bring them closer. Maybe like this one right here. See, by just extending it right over the grassy areas, then it comes forward. That easy. And we need an indication that there's a little foot on it. Maybe we'll give him a little foots. Like so. Maybe there lives a tree right here. You can put a new one in. Doesn't matter. And he comes down to there. Yes, he does. See there? Give him a little foots. Maybe. Yep, you're right. You're right. There's another one. And you can put as many trees in here as you want. Just let them happen. Okay. Good. Maybe, I'll tell you what, let's bring this one a little bit closer too. Shoot, we'll have a bunch of them that's a little closer. Now, I want to make this look like there's a little bit of light coming through there. So I'm going to take a little bit of permanent red, little phthalo blue with it, and a little white. Okay, that'll be our shadow color. Now, there we go, we'll go back. We'll use some permanent red and less blue. Just a tiny bit of blue in this. It's the same color, only one is to the reddish hue, and one of them is to the blue hue. Same color. A little more white. There. Good. All right. Now watch. Come right down here on the palette. Watch right here. We're going to cut across that and get a small, tiny little roll of paint right out on the end of the knife. Okay, let's go up here. Now let's say today maybe our light's coming from the left. And all I'm going to do is pick out a tree and begin touching. Just touch. Just touch. Where you think the light would hit. Now, if the light's coming from the left, you want the left side of the tree to be bright and the other side to be cool. Okay, maybe. There's a little light striking this one right here. There we go. Now, if you want it to get darker, you just keep working on it, tapping, touching, and the black color underneath will come through, and it'll make your color darker automatically. You don't even have to worry about it. And that's the joy of painting. You don't have to worry. Oh, there was a good plug. Good plug. See? A little more light hitting right there. Red, a little blue. Okay, let's put a little bit on this one. Right here. There we go. Just barely touch. And you just touch the canvas. The canvas will pull off what it wants and give you back what's left. You don't have to worry about it. Don't even have to worry about it. Okay. A little extra light right there. In my mind, that's where the sun's going to come through and twang, hit right there. Now, into the shadow color. This is the same color. Permanent red, phthalo blue. But this is more to the bluish hue. There's more blue. See, that'll give it a dark side, a shadow side. There. Okay, a little bit on this one. Don't want him to feel left out and lonely. There we go. Isn't that a it's a nice little way to make very effective trees. I knew you'd enjoy that one. That really, really and truly is a beautiful way to do it. A little bit right there. And it works so simple, so easy. So I say this is a fantastic first painting to try. If you've never painted along with me before, this is a good one to try. And this is on a black canvas. Now we prepare these black canvases with a flat black acrylic. They're painted with a flat black acrylic, allowed to dry completely, and then we go back and apply the color over them. And in this case, we applied phthalo blue and sap green, just brush mixed all over the canvas. And you see what happens. Bring some limbs out across the tree so they're not all on each side. Okay, that'll give you enough practice on limbs. You know how to do them now. Okay, let's get up here and play. But you can see by pulling those trees down how it creates depth. Okay, now we need to cover up his little foots. And you can take a little bit of the black color on your brush if you want to put a little shadow behind these trees. See there? Easy. Easy. You can drop a little shadow right behind them. That's simple. Okay, now we go back into our yellows. I got cad yellow, Indian yellow, yellow ochre, and here and there a little touch of permanent red. And let's just drop in some little soft, quiet, grassy areas. A little sap green added to that and dull it down. Don't want it to get too bright. Isn't that a super way to make a lot of trees fast? Let's put some over in here. Can't leave this side out. Now all I'm doing is touching the canvas, just tapping it, very soft, very quiet. Darker, darker, darker as it goes toward the foreground. You know, if you had a beautiful place like this, I'd want a little house. I'd want to live back here because this is where the bunny rabbit lives, and you could sit here and you could talk to him and you could have all kind of fun. So let's put a little house back here. I'm gonna start out with Van Dyke Brown on the knife. Just get a little bit of paint, cut across, get that little roll of paint right out on the edge of the knife. There you go. Okay, let's go up here. Maybe our little house lives. Shoot, right there, right there. We'll do the back eave. There we are. And let's do the front of the house. Zoop, zoop. There we go. There we are. Now we can straighten out this edge. Now there's numerous ways to make houses. This is just one. And maybe in your world, there isn't a house back here. And I just want to show you also how to make a little house in the woods if you want one. You may not want a house in your painting. And this is a beautiful painting without a house. So if there's no house in your world, don't put one in your painting. Maybe he's like me, he ran out of room. We'll have to give him a shed. I like to make little sheds on the houses, little storage areas. Or maybe it's where his chicken lives. You know, chickens need a house too. We'll put a little shed right there. We'll bring it down. Okay. Now then, let's do some playing. I'll take some white, a little bit of Van Dyke Brown, a little burn umber into it. White, Van Dyke Brown, a little burn umber. There, just mix it up. And this we're not going to mix too much. We want this to be marbly, and we'll just cut across it. Okay? Now, here we go. Barely touching. Oh, just barely touch. Let it just gently slide across there. You want that paint to break. Make it look old. Now we'll take the same color and add a little more white to it. Because we said our light was coming from the left, so the front of the cabin would be a little bit brighter than the side. Same color with white added to it. See? Now that stands out better. Same color, just a different value. And maybe out here there's tell you what, I'm going to add a small amount of blue to that to cast it into a little shadow. Just a little bit right in here. Wants a little bit of color on that. That's going to end up being a little shed. Okay, maybe, tell you what, maybe there's some little shingles. We'll take some permanent red, a little Van Dyke Brown. Let's put a few little shingles here, or just indications of shingles. Da-da-da-da-da. Drop it in. Just come right across. Do it in layers, so the top is covered by the bottom of the one above it, just like we did put real shingles on. There. That's all there is to it. Now let's put a little highlight, just so it separates this. Just a little bit of highlight right down the edge. Isn't that a cute little cabin out there in the woods? I need a door. Gotta have a door. Can't get in our cabin. The door lives right there. And around the door, we need a little bit of light so the door stands out. There we go. Let's put a little white on there. That'll make it stand out. Oh yeah, that's much better against that dark canvas. Just a little indication. Maybe there's a couple of windows over here. There's one. Looks like two big eyes looking at you. I'm going to take a little bit of blue and put there and make it look maybe like it's a little light shining across some glass in the window. Maybe there's a little glass out here. A little just so it stands out. If you want boards, all you gotta do is cut through this, make it look just like little boards. Your cabin, so you do whatever you want. Okay, now we need a little path. Let's get up to this cabin. So I'll go back into the brown and the burn umber, just sort of mixed together. And right here, right there comes a little path. And this little path just wanders wherever you want it. Let it wander, let it play. Van Dyke brown, burn umber. And let it get darker, darker, darker. We don't care where it goes. Now we can take a little brown and white and barely touch. Put a few little indications. Looks like there's a little blue in it too. A little phthalo blue. Brown, white, little phthalo blue. Barely touch. Darker, darker over here. Okay. Now then, let's go back to our 2.5-inch brush. Little yellow, sap green, and we can come back in here and lay in all these beautiful little grassy areas. Bring it right down to the edge of this little path, little dirt area. So let them go. Little yellow ochre, cad yellow, Indian yellow. Just mix them on the brush. Let them go. I only have a small amount of permanent red to that. Just maybe we'll put a little spot right in there. Right there. There. Don't want too much of that in there. Just a little sap green and the yellows mainly. Just let it go. There. This really is a fun painting. I think if you will do this one will make you happy. It'll make your heart feel good. It'll really make you happy. And that's what painting's all about. Painting should make you happy. Should make you happy. Okay, let's go to the other side. Put a little bit right. Look at that. See how easy it is? All I'm doing is touching the canvas and sort of just barely bending down. Don't let the brush slide, though. Just tap it. Don't let it slide on it. If it slides, it'll just make streaks, and pretty soon you end up mixing mud. And we don't want to be mud mixers. Very soft, quiet. And if you get one that's too bright or too distinct, all you have to do is tap it a few times. It'll pick up the color that's underneath, and it'll go away. It'll just go to whatever you want it to be. Very, very soft, very quiet. Maybe, tell you what, I'll go into a little bit of sap green and yellow with a 1-inch brush. I'll do that. I want to keep this quite dark. Quite dark. Okay, let's go up here. Maybe there's a little bush here and there that just grows around the edge of the house. There he is, wherever you want it. So you can add these little bushes and stuff in here. Maybe this guy didn't cut his yard too well, and it's beginning to grow. Now let's go right, put a little one right there. Little light's hitting this one. I want it a little brighter. Yeah, very good. Comes right down in front of that big tree. Okay, sap green. We'll put one way back in here. I don't want this one to be very bright. I want it to be far away, dark. Okay, we can drop a few of them. Let them come right over the land area. That pushes the land down into the painting. Sometimes when you do land or paths or little roads or something, you have the feeling that it's floating above the painting. If that happens, bring some of this and bring it over it. Let it come literally over part of it, and it'll push the path of the land right down into the painting. It makes it fit so much better, and you'll be happier with it. Okay, I think we about got that. Might take and put a tiniest little bit of highlight right up here on the top of this roof, just to make that little shed stand out a little better. And I think it just about gives us a finished painting. I'm going to sign this one, use a little bit of thin oil. And when I use a thin oil, I usually use something like linseed oil or copal, whatever, just thin oil. And we can sign this one. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's taught you a lot. I really do hope you try this one because you'll find it to be a great deal of fun. And from all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy painting. God bless. Welcome back. I'm glad to see you today. Today I think we'll do a canvas that's vertical and we'll have some fun there. And I'm going to have them graphically run all the colors that we'll use today across your screen, and they'll come across in the same order that I have them on my palette. And while they're doing that, let's get started. I'm going to start out today with a small amount of Prussian blue. Just a small amount. We'll work it into the bristles. Just beat it. Bang, bang, bang like that. And it works it into the bristles nice and even. And I'm going to add a little bit of Van Dyke brown to that. I want to dull this blue down today. So we have Van Dyke brown, Prussian blue. Let's go up to the canvas and very gently making little X's. Just sort of come across like so. A little more color on the brush, blue and brown. And just bring it across. There we are. And we're just sort of making little crisscross strokes. Just let them play across the canvas, have fun. Very light. And maybe we'll have a little water in this. So I'll take a little more of the blue and the Van Dyke brown. And maybe there'll be water. It doesn't matter where it's going to be down here. So we'll just do this. And we'll put the water wherever we want it. Okay, and we clean the brush, and we clean our brushes with odorless paint thinner. And I have a screen in the bottom of the bucket here to scrub the brush against. All right, there we are. Okay, let's go right up in here now and begin blending this. I have a clean, dry brush. I'm just going to sort of blend it together, like so. Okay, now let's build up. Let's build a little cloud up in here. I'm going to take some titanium white and just pull the 1-inch brush through it, just like so. Okay, let's go right up here, and let's maybe make some layers of little clouds. Just making small, tiny circles. Just wherever you see them. There's one. So we put the white right on this dark color so it stands out. You need the dark in order to show the light. Now we'll take a clean, dry brush, use just the corner of it, and gently blend those clouds out. And then we'll fluff them. Just lift them up, fluff them, and then very lightly blend them. Okay, maybe we'll have another layer of clouds right there. You can put as many clouds in your sky as you want. Just let them go. Clouds are free. And these are happy little clouds, so just have fun with them. Okay, now we'll take a clean, dry brush again and lightly blend. There. Fluff it a little bit. This is a super nice way of making some very effective clouds. Puts a lot of depth in your sky and very easy. I think you'll enjoy making them like that. Okay, let's play a little bit. I'm going to take a 1-inch brush and I'm going to dip it into some paint thinner. And take a little bit of Van Dyke brown, a little burnt umber, and I'm just mixing them on the brush. A little bit of the Prussian blue into it. There. Now I put a little bit of paint thinner into the brush to make it thin. I'm going to get just a touch more here. There. About like that. We want paint that's quite thin today. We're going to have some fun. Let's go up here, and maybe there's a nice big old tree that lives right here. And all I'm going to do is just tap in a basic shape. Now this is paint that's quite thin. Quite thin. And I'm just tapping in a basic shape. It's blue and brown. Almost like a wash. Almost like a wash, just very loose, thin paint. Then we're going to come back and put some firmer paint over the top of it and make some fantastic things happen here. So all kinds of different things you can do. And maybe make this tree a little bigger. It's going to be a big old tree. Here's a nice one. I see him right there. And we're still just tapping in some basic, very basic shapes with very thin paint. There we go. It's brown, a little bit of blue, very little blue. Blue is so strong. Maybe right here. Very basic shapes, though. Okay, now we'll take one of our large brushes, and I want to pull down just a little bit of this to make the indication of some reflections way back distance here. Pull it down nice and long. And we'll very lightly go across it. Very lightly. Just enough to make it look watery, and then quit. Okay. Now then, let's take, I'm going to try a little bit of the cad yellow here. And we'll go into some sap green and cad yellow. And I'm going to load quite a bit of paint on the brush. Okay, let's go right up here. Now, all I'm going to do is take and lay in some basic color. Just very lightly lay in a little bit of color. Then I'm going to come back with a larger brush, and we're going to blend and mute that color. Make it very soft. Very, very soft. Far away. Okay, now we'll take a dry 2.5-inch brush and very lightly, I'm just using the corner, just soften this. Look at that. So soft and peaceful. And that's all there is to it. Okay? Thought you'd like it. It's a little bit different. It's a lot of fun. Okay, let's just play a little bit here with some of these. There's one. Lay a little color. And you need some basic shapes. Just lay the color on, and then we'll come back and soften it using the large brush. And let's add a little more green to that color. There we go. Sap green. Now we can come back with our large brush and very gently just tap. There's one. Maybe we'll add a small amount of permanent red right in there, and maybe put one right there. All kinds of little things. Just let them fall off your brush. This is very easy. All we're doing is just tapping. Very, very easy. Put a little bit down in here for reflection. Okay, now let's soften that very lightly. And this is reflection, so pull it down. Gently come across. Okay. Let's go over here and put a little bit on this one. A little bit up here. Just barely touching. And over here. And I'm just using cad yellow, a little permanent red, a little yellow ochre, a little Indian yellow. I'm just mixing them all on the brush and just varying the amounts a little bit, going back and forth. Barely touching. Just drop in a little bit of color. There we go. Now we can begin playing. Maybe there's a little peninsula that comes out through here. And probably we should before we come forward. I'm going to take a little bit of magic white, a little brown in it. Good. A little brown in it to dull it down. Cut across. Just see, pull it out flat, cut across. Just go right up in here, lay in some little water lines. Act just like you're trying to cut a hole through the canvas. And there we'll add a little bit darker brown. Just mix it up a little. Okay, I'm going to take a little paint thinner on my liner brush and go right into this brown. And I'm just using paint thinner. And maybe here and there there's a few old trees that live. Let's start up here and pull it. That way you can see it better. You can start at the top and work down, or bottom and work up. Either way, whichever is convenient for you. Maybe there's just a few old trees up here. You know, dead trees are a reality in nature. So don't leave them out just because they're dead. They're part of nature's beauty. Sometimes there's old parts of the trees that protrude out. One limb maybe gets tired and gives up, but the other ones keep going. Just here and there. Yeah, let's have some fun. Maybe back in there, Now I've got paint thinner on my fan brush, and let's add a little bit of white to that. Maybe there's some moss that grows back here and hangs on a tree. Paint thinner, a little brown, a little white. There. Just use your fan brush. Let these things hang wherever you want 'em. There we go. Makes it look nice and swampy. Some of the beautiful places in the South where they have so many fantastic swamps. Ooh, a lot of boogers live in there. Okay, now let's go back and decide where we're going to go with this. Maybe it comes right down like that. Right on over wherever you want it. Let's pull some of that color down. We'll make some nice reflections right down into the water. Okay, big brush, pull down, straight down. No matter if these go at an angle, still pull your reflection straight down. Otherwise, they won't look right. And then go across. And these strokes have to go straight across. If they don't, your water, it won't stay in your painting, it'll run out. Alrighty, let's go in here and apply some color and let some little things happen in here. And just, in your mind, pick out where you think a basic bush would be and work on the shape of that bush. Do one at a time. Get it completed before you go to the next one. Don't try to do them all at once. One at a time. And I'm just using the corner of the 1-inch brush here. And we're using still the same colors, cad yellow, Indian yellow, yellow ochre, and a little bit of permanent red. A little sap green thrown in every once in a while. Just work it back and forth. If it won't stick, add a little paint thinner. Keep it as thick as you can on top of the thinner paint so that it'll blend. Now then, let's take a 2.5-inch brush and just barely touch. Very soft. Very quiet. Okay. A few more little things here and there. Just like so. And we'll drop some of those down here in the water. And turn them right into a reflection. Just pull down. That easy. That easy. Okay. I'm going to take a little magic white, a little firm white, mix it together, and then put some brown into it. So we have magic white, firm white, and a little bit of brown. I'm going to cut across it. And let's go up here. And I'm going to put in a little bit of land area. Not a great deal. Just all kinds of pretty little things happening there. Then we'll bring some of the grassy areas down into that. Just to break it up so it doesn't look too straight. There we go, a few little lines. It's a little brown here and there. And we can cut in a few little sticks and twigs just using the point of the knife. If you want them bigger, turn the knife sort of sideways and make little sticks. Small ones go straight on. Okay. Now then, we got to make some decisions. What do we have over here? Let's take some more of the brown, burn umber. This is Van Dyke brown, burn umber, a little bit of blue. And it's quite thin, quite thin. And let's go. Maybe there's a huge big tree that lives right here. And he's got limbs that hang out. Big tree. Big limbs. Oh, goodness, maybe he comes way over in here. It's your tree, so you make him wherever you want him. Wherever. Maybe right on down through here. Just sort of let your imagination go crazy. And wherever you think it ought to be, that's where it ought to be. Maybe there's a nice bush that lives right here. There we go. See, now you could very well use a large brush for this, and you'd get done much, much faster. Much faster, and it would work just as well. Okay. This is the burn umber, Van Dyke brown, Prussian blue, and quite thin. All I'm trying to do is cover up this area. You could probably put this on with a paint roller if you wanted to. It really has some fun in it. Now that we can begin working on little individual shapes and stuff in these trees, let's go into some sap green. Go right up here. And we'll work on this old big tree here. I'm using quite dark green, sap green, and just put in some basic shapes. Just where you think the leaves will be. There we go. Large brush, and we can very lightly, just tap and soften. Very, very soft, very quiet painting. This is one that should relax you. And maybe up in here, maybe. Let's use a little white, a little brown. Maybe in here, maybe there's some nice mossy things that are hanging out. Just pull down. Very thin paint. Very thin paint, almost like water. Just wherever you want them. I was born and raised in Florida, and this sort of reminds me of some of the old mossy trees that were around when I was a kid. Of course, I'm not going to tell you how many years ago that was. Whew. Seems like forever. Okay. Now then we can come right in here and begin deciding, maybe there's another little tree lives right here. Drop in some basic shapes. Then get the large brush and go back and very lightly just tap. Okay, maybe. Here's another big bush. And once again, just put in some basic little leaf shapes. Drop them in. And then we'll come back and soften them. And vary the colors here and there. Now this is a little bit easier than some of the bushes we've made in the past. This is just, all we're doing here is tapping. And just using different colors. And maybe for someone this will be a little bit easier. And if it helps you, then it's good. Okay, there's a nice red one. I really hit that red with that one. Now with our large brush, let's just very gently tap it. Tap it. Lightly. Ever so lightly. There we go. And we'll just go into some color with a big brush here. And we'll just put some little indications. This is a very, very soft, muted painting. Some people really like these, and I've had a lot of